Hey guys, welcome to today's reading. This one is all about someone who has been mean to you, cruel to you, hating on you. We're going to get inside their head, figure out their psychology and why they have been acting this way. And today we have a beautiful selection of crystals for you to choose from. By the way, if you like how I read tarot, be sure to check out my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. I just posted one all about when and how it's going to happen for you. So if you've had a manifestation, dream, goal you've been working towards, we figure out when it's going to happen, the timeline for that, and what it is going to look like. It's a super detailed reading over 3 hours long. But as soon as you sign up for Patreon, you'll get access to all my readings. So over 65 additional readings about relationships, love, family, career, money, friends, past lives, future lives, spirituality, where you should live. I mean, there's every topic under the sun over there. So if you would like to join me, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description, and I would love to see you there. So with that being said, if you're new to this channel, welcome. And basically you're going to see which of these crystals is sticking out to you, calling your name, drawing your attention in. You're going to see which of the energies just seems to be calling to you, and then as soon as you've made up your mind, you can scroll down to the timestamps in the comments and the description and jump right into your pile. I also want to mention that I do private one-on-one readings. So if you want to ask me about love, career, a year ahead reading, a chart reading, or just an energy check-in, you can book that on my website. You can book it for a shorter session, a half hour, or a full hour-long, longer session. You can also get it pre-recorded or live, and of course you get to choose what we talk about. So if you would like to book that session with me and have me tune into whatever situation you would like me to, then go to my website briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description as well. So with all that being said, if you need more time to decide, you can totally feel free to rewind, pause, and take as much time as you need. But we're going to go ahead and jump into pile one. Hey pile one, welcome to your reading. So today we have two separate sections representing different things. So this section is what they think of you, their opinions of you, and this section is for why they're hating on you. So we're going to be getting into both. Let's go over the cards really quick. So we got the Knight of Swords, Five of Wands, Wheel of Fortune, and the King of Pentacles representing you. And as far as why they're hating, we have the Emperor, we have the Three of Pentacles, the Seven of Wands, and the Ace of Cups reversed. So let's start over here. How do they perceive you? So this person perceives you as someone who might be very talkative. You might be kind of funny or loud, or just someone who's really smart as well. And this person may perceive you as even like talking a lot. There may be a fear of you having some charisma and just a competitive vibe when it comes to you. I do think this person thinks of you as a worthy opponent, and they do think of you as someone who can hold your own. They may also think of you as kind of unfairly lucky. We have Sagittarius energy, Wheel of Fortune over here. And so they may perceive you as someone who might even seem more worldly than them. Keep in mind that Sagittarius is the energy of travel. So they may see you as someone who just seems worldly, well-traveled, or very aware, intelligent. Sagittarius and Jupiter energy is also very intelligent. It's literally related to the ninth house of education. So for you guys, they may see you as somehow above them in that way, or there may be a competitive thing having to do with the amount of knowledge you have or just how you carry yourself. You might feel to them like you know more than them, or kind of like, oh, they're a snob, or oh, they probably went on vacation to someplace fancy every summer growing up. There may be a little bit of jealousy when it comes to that. And they also may perceive you as someone who's wealthy or has a lot of potential for wealth with that King of Pentacles. They also might perceive you as someone, if you're, especially like if you're a woman or if you're an attractive guy even, as like, oh, this person could get a sugar daddy if they wanted, or they probably have people paying them for dates. They probably have people who are willing to shell out money. So there may be some jealousy about your perceived ability to get money from people, depending on, again, take it how it resonates, leave the rest. But that's maybe some of the reason why they're hating. But really what it comes down to, I can see here, is competition. We have the Emperor. We have the Seven of Wands. This person sees you as competition. They see you as a worthy opponent. And this person may have a very black and white way of viewing the world. They may view the world in very hierarchical terms. So maybe when you thought you guys were bonding and having fun and getting along, this person may be thinking of you as a competitor. This could be a friend, a coworker. It could be someone who is in your social circle and someone that may be friendly to your face. I do feel like this person has good social skills to a certain extent. Like I'm seeing someone wearing a mask. So I feel like they wouldn't be upfront about their feelings towards you at first. It may slip out though in like micro expressions or, little gestures that they give or something like that. They may not be the type to directly confront you. And again, I think they see you as a worthy opponent. I don't think they would have the bravery to actually say it to your face because they might know you guys could clap back with that Knight of Swords next to the Five of Wands. So they know that, you're not going to be someone who's just going to be like dissolving into tears. And so they're going to take some underhanded tactics. They may have pretended to like you. They may have pretended to be your friend. They may pretend that you guys get along really well. But I don't feel like that's their honest intentions. And to be honest with you, I don't feel like this person would have hid at any point that they are a little shady. I would think for most of you guys that you've always had the feeling around this person that like they just seem a little dishonest. They just seem a little unsupportive. Maybe, you post something on social media and they never like it. Maybe when you tell them about something happening, they just don't seem super excited. Maybe you're in a meeting with this person and they just seem weirdly critical. But I feel like you probably had indications from the start of this person's competitive vibe because I don't even feel like they are trying to hide it that much. They also may see you as someone who is very much a little bit outside the box, a little bit different, a little bit outside the norm. And since I think they see the world as very hierarchical, they have this idea that there's one set hierarchy. There's one set of I think this is really what it boils down to too, is there's one kind of set of rules or there's one way to behave. There's one kind of like, thing you're supposed to fit into, I guess is how I could describe it. Like this person has the power, that person is the second runner up, that person is the third runner up. They may even literally rank these things in their mind and think of people along these terms and just kind of like really adjust how they talk to someone based on the perceived power that this person would have. So if they don't perceive someone as having money, I feel like they would disrespect them. Or if they don't perceive this person as having power, they would disrespect them. Or it may be the opposite too. It could be, again, this is a general reading, that when they perceive someone has money, they go after them. They see them as a target. The jealousy kicks up. But what it comes down to is deep down, this person is always ranking people and they're always trying to figure out how can I get to the top? How can I be the number one, guy in the group? How can I be the person who calls the shots and the person that everyone else respects? And so you may have been interacting with them and just thinking like, yeah, we're getting along, we're having fun, it's a good time, or like, yeah, they're my coworker and we're cool. But I feel like really deep down, this person is constantly making a little list in their mind of their status versus your status, and they are determined to get to number one. So if they think sabotaging you, being mean to you because they perceive you as number one and they're trying to like rip the rug out from under you is going to make them number one, that's what they'll do. Or if they think that, sucking up to someone who has power and putting on a nice face and being very two-faced is going to get them to the number one position, that's what they'll do. But what this person has in common is they're very transactional. They're not super emotional. We literally see here this Ace of Cups reverse. That really tells us a lot. The Ace of Cups is the representation of Cups energy. It's that first Cups card. It's literally showing the actual cup itself, and cups represent emotions in tarot. They represent spirituality, creativity, and kind of like that genuine, emotional, intuitive, spiritual side of us humans. So with it being reversed, this person may be very not in touch with their emotional side. They may be very not in touch with their spiritual side. This may be someone who really even has a hard time accessing their emotions or being clear clear about what they're feeling. They may be cut off from their intuition and very spiritually, psychically kind of stupid. They may not be aware of facts about karma and the Akashic records and how, you know, spirit is keeping track of all these things. So they may think, oh, I can get away with it. And I do feel like what I'm getting intuitively is a lot of you guys have brought out this kind of anger in them. Like they see you as a competition. There is also this energy of like, oh yeah, pile one had everything handed to them. Kind of like they may even mention like, oh, privilege or something like that. Or pile one is privileged, or pile one's whole life has been easy. Pile one, you know, they probably never had to struggle. Everything came to them and whatever. There's this kind of jealousy. I wouldn't be surprised. They may even be jealous of your looks. I'm getting a jealous vibe, and I'm getting that this person does try to figure out ways to undermine you and to hate on you. This person also worries quite a lot about fitting into a structure. So they think a lot about the people around them and their perception of them, and making sure they come off as a success, and making sure that they have some esteem in the group. Other people think of them as powerful. Other people respect them. And it really gets under their skin when anyone else comes in and takes the shine. And I feel like a lot of you guys have an effortless quality about you. Again, Knight of Swords vibes. So you might be quick on your feet verbally. You might be someone who just can, you know, run a conversation and just talk about a lot of different subjects. The Knight of Swords, excuse me, is extremely brilliant and smart, quick on their feet, a quick thinker. It may not necessarily always be an extrovert, because of course there's really smart introverts, but most of the time it may be someone who's an extrovert or someone who can just talk with anyone, you know, quick-witted, good conversationalist, that kind of a thing. Doesn't have to be an extrovert, but probably someone that can have a really good conversation and speak on different subjects and knows a lot. It's kind of like that chatty person in class who just seems to know so much and like has a million different interests. It's kind of like Gemini energy. So I feel like for them, they may resent that you do that. I feel like you have a kind of Gemini energy around you that's very like, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to be into that. I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm going here. I'm going there. I'm thinking of this. Like, kind of like you're not set in stone. It feels like a lot of you guys in this pile, you have a lot of different interests. You might have a lot of different friend groups, and you might be kind of unconventional in a way. You might also, it's giving Aquarian vibes to me. You might be someone who kind of does things outside of the box or doesn't worry so much about fitting in the way this person does. I feel like a lot of you guys, you march to the beat of your own drum. You do your own thing, and you don't really worry so much about how others perceive you. You're more focused on your own goals, your own interests, and whatever. And I feel like in a way, deep down, you're kind of a threat to this person, because they have put so much energy and attention to like fitting into certain things and trying to climb up this hierarchy that they perceive. And so the fact that you guys seem to be not even caring or thinking about that and just living your best life, doing your own thing, like paying attention to your stuff, I feel like this person takes this as a threat or almost takes it personally. It's almost like an attack on their life, because they're like, how can pile number one be so footloose and fancy free? How can pile one have the respect of other people and have people like them, but honestly, they're not even doing anything to fit in? There may even just be differences between this person and you in terms of your culture, in terms of how you dress. It's giving that this person just doesn't understand you, doesn't know how you work. Like, I feel like you are perplexing to this person. You make them think, and they don't like that. They just want you and probably everyone around them to be easy to figure out and easy to get to know. You know, it's reminding me of like me being from the East Coast, and times I've had to live in places that are very dissimilar, like, you know, Orange County, California, or, you know, in the deep South in Texas, where sometimes it's like, you just have totally different values, a totally different way of dressing. Like, I remember when I, you know, was telling my dad about me going back to Texas, and he was joking, and he was like, oh yeah, like, do you need some cowboy boots and a cowboy hat? And I was like, well, actually the people do wear that down there, and some of the guys I've dated have worn that. And he was like, what? He was like, you're joking, they don't actually wear it. I was like, yeah. And that's the thing though, is I'm sure someone maybe who I knew from Texas might have a hard time in DC DC. And it's not to say that we're completely alien people, but sometimes, unless you're willing to have an open mind and be like, oh yeah, so they do wear cowboy boots down here and that's cool. Or maybe someone going up to DC and being like, oh, everyone's dressed in suits and everyone's kind of buttoned up. Or, you know, there's different moral values, there's different life expectations of like who's getting married when and who's, you know, and like how important religion is, or all these different things, you know, that are just different from place to place. And it's giving me that vibe of this person is just not capable of taking a step back and being like, oh yeah, they're a little different. They're just doing it differently. It's like they are so limited in their worldview that they cannot imagine that someone has a different life from them, different values, different view. They cannot pull back away from themselves and just give you the grace and the empathy to understand that you're not doing anything bad, you're not doing anything wrong, it's just different. It's not, you know, better or worse, it's just different. And it's like they're so rooted in this idea, they are like clinging to this idea. I also just got a flash of unworthiness. This person feels very unworthy compared to you. They don't feel good enough. There's something about your sparkle and the attention you get and just your natural way of being in this world that makes this person feel upset. They don't feel like they are as good enough. This is a lot of envy is what I'm getting. It is envy, it is jealousy, it is expecting that you, maybe even something like, oh, they think they're better than me. And you might not have said a word to this person. You might have literally just been minding your own business, sitting across the room from them, and they're like, I know they think they're better. They probably think they're blah, blah, blah. And it's really going to be important for you to blot this out and not to care, because again, I feel like this person's mind was kind of made up from you from the beginning. And I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you, if this person does gossip about you a lot. If this person, you know, does try to go around behind your back and like whisper about you, say negative things about you, talk badly about you. I don't feel like this would be a friendship that you guys would nurture naturally. Like if you met in a coffee shop, y'all would not have exchanged numbers. By the way, I still say y'all from my time in Texas. So anyway, sometimes people are like, why is she saying y'all? But yeah, but you guys might have met in a coffee shop, or you probably didn't, because my point is, it doesn't feel like you guys would gravitate towards each other from two random places. It feels like you guys would have been forced together at some point. So either you're in the same friend group, but you don't really hang out a ton one-on-one, or you guys worked together, or you met in the same like apartment building or something and you keep running into them. But it doesn't feel like a natural relationship where you would just hang out and really enjoy each other and grab lunch and get a glass of wine. It feels like this is something that feels kind of forced. And I am feeling like this person, I'm getting like a feeling of laughing. Like it's almost like they get a kick out of being disrespectful, or they get a kick out of publicly, like I said, talking behind your back, or being like, yeah, she tried to invite me to go to lunch with her. I was like, heck no, I'm not going to go. You know, I feel like this person would love to get to denigrate you in any way because they want to make it clear they don't like you. And a lot of that is because they think of you as better than them. And they don't want you to have any more of a social boost or any kind of platform any more than you already do. So let's get into some of the other cards. So we got the Desert Prince, Survival, False Promises. We also got the Ice Queen, Non-action, Entitlement, Ideas Preserved, and the Prison Waif, Self-sabotage, Poverty Consciousness. And that sums it up really well. This person has a survival or poverty mentality. Like it's like they feel like there's only one person who can win. They feel that there's only one person who's going to come out on top, and it needs to be them. You know, they feel like if they don't fight you and if they don't give it their all, that they're going to end up with nothing. I don't know if they had parents who, like, you know, maybe growing up, like if they were playing with their favorite toy, their parent would like snatch it away and give it to someone else just to make a point that like you don't own anything. You know, sometimes parents are like that, or people are like that in general. They get weird around, you know, ideas like sharing and like, you know, stuff like that. They'll try to like make a point by not letting the kid have anything, or not letting them have a bedroom that's their own, or, you know, stuff like that can be very disruptive. So they might have had this idea that they have to fight, that they have to take what's theirs, or someone will take it from them. But I feel like it's like this is definitely going to cause karma for them later on, because they have this idea that there's only one way of winning. And deep down, they don't feel adequate. They don't feel good enough. They have this idea that there's a scarcity happening. And I do feel like they see so much potential in you, pile one. They see that you have the power to do so many things, to ascend, to be so powerful, to be very successful. They see you as eye-catching. They see you as someone who has a lot of eyes on you, a lot of interest in you, who's naturally not even having to try, but just gets to be the center of attention. And it does bring out that feeling of inadequacy, this feeling of not being good enough, this feeling of why do people pay attention to her or him? It's giving me the vibes of like that scene from the Brady Bunch where Jan says, Marsha, Marsha, Marsha. It's kind of a famous line, you know, because that's her big sister, and Marsha's so beautiful and everyone always pays attention to her at school, at home. So she finally loses it and just screams, Marsha, Marsha, Marsha. Everyone cares about Marsha, but what about me? And that's what it's making me think of, because I feel like it drives this person crazy, the effect you have on others, the way you're able to effortlessly capture people's attention. They really can't get enough of it, and they see you as very self-possessed. There is a bougie vibe they perceive about you. I am getting that really strongly. There is, maybe you guys dress really well, carry yourselves well, but there is a vibe about you of like, I feel like you guys just seem like a free spirit, kind of like doing your thing. You know what they just showed me? This is so funny, but they actually showed me Stevie Nicks, and they showed me a really funny image of Stevie Nicks dancing in her little like swoopy, silky gowns that she would wear. And then, you know, in front of like a crowd in the 1950s. Isn't that a funny image? But that's what they're showing me. And it's giving me the vibe of like, you know, if Stevie Nicks had come around, not in the 70s, but in like the 1950s, they would never have been okay with her. They would never have been able to like her or respect her, because they would have just been so locked into this one idea of what like a singer looked like. And they had to be really clean cut, and they had to be really, you know, squeaky clean. And Stevie Nicks being up there dancing around in all black and kind of this witchy vibe she gave off was definitely not the look. She needed to come around in the 70s, but imagine if she'd come around earlier, the world would just not have been ready for that. And I feel like there's something about you that this person's just not ready for, and it makes them insecure. They may literally think of you as more cosmopolitan, more exciting, more chic. There may be something about you that is just very different, you know, and they're kind of like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to take this. I don't know how to understand this. Like, this is so different from me, and it's threatening me. It's kind of like I said, I noticed there were things I did when I was down in Texas, or even in some place like Orange County, where it's like, it's just so different because it's a completely different culture. Anyone who's ever moved across the country or across the world will know what I'm talking about, where you're like, well, I don't think this person's doing anything wrong, and I don't think I'm doing anything wrong, but it's like we're almost speaking two different languages, or it's almost like we just have completely different values, our ideas of what's cool, our ideas of how someone should dress or how someone should talk. Are totally different. And it's, you know, it takes maturity to understand that and just be like, oh, okay, yeah, this person isn't doing anything wrong. Maybe I don't really like their vibe so much. Maybe they're dressing in a different way than I would, or talking or acting differently, but they're not doing anything bad, of course. They're just being themselves, and I don't understand it as much, but that's okay because I have my way of doing it. And that takes a level of maturity that it just feels like this person doesn't have. They're not willing to give you any grace. They're not willing to let you see things in a different light. They are so obsessed with the one way of doing things, and it's very, very rigid. And I feel like there was things you might have done that stepped out of the box for them, or might have seemed even like weird, and they just can't let it go. You know, they still, and it's almost like a feeling of injustice is what I'm getting from them, because it's almost like in their mind, they're like, yeah, they are weird. So people need to stop paying attention to them. They're weird. So why do they have these friends? Why do other people like them? Screw them. Like, I do feel like it frustrates this person, the idea that they have, that you do feel like you are doing well, or you do feel like people do like you. Like, maybe they've tried to talk about you behind your back, and there are people that every time will be like, no, she's awesome. No, she's really cool. Or like, no, he's so awesome. I love him. He's the best. No, when he said that, I'm sure he was joking. He's really funny. You know what I mean? And they might try to like crack a joke at your expense and people shut it down. Or maybe people go along with it, but they know deep down that people do respect you. They know you have a status and it drives them crazy. They wish they could just fully throw you under the bus, and it feels like they just can't do that. They can't get away with it. So let's get into some more cards. We got Jeweled Web, Connectivity, Caterpillar, Opportunity, Benefactor, Grace and Generosity, and Moon Maiden's New Beginnings. So there is a strong energy around you that you like always land on your feet. I'm like a cat with 9 lives. So I feel like for them, they really hate this idea that no matter what they try to do and no matter how much negativity they've tried to direct towards you, like I was saying, it feels like people just aren't willing to buy the BS they're selling. People aren't gonna, when they try to go on a rant about you or when they try to get you out of the group, it feels like they're just unable to do that, and it irritates them, this idea that there's something very effortlessly kind of fun and easy about you. I also want to emphasize that for some of these people, they're just super self-centered. They're very myopic. They view things in a very limited way. They're not willing to open their eyes and see things differently because they have such a limited way of looking at things. Like, yeah, I think it makes sense that all of us get used to our way of living, and all of us get used to like, okay, so this is what the world looks like. And that's why, travel can be such an eye-opening experience, is because you're like, oh, they eat this in this part of the world, or they dress like that, or this is their custom for this. Wow, that's kind of interesting. That's not what I would have expected. Like I said, when my dad was making just a harmless joke about, do they wear cowboy hats? He thought he was just like joking around, and I was like, yeah, they actually do though. They do wear like cowboy boots and stuff. And for someone who's from like Seattle or Washington DC or many places, probably every place outside Texas, that seems completely nuts. Like, it's like, why are they walking around like that? They're not actually riding horses. But if that's the culture, that's the culture. And I feel like, most of the time you can give the person the benefit of the doubt. When I told my dad that, he was like, okay, well, okay, I guess that's how it is. But some people are so rooted that they would actually get offended, and they'd be like, well, why are they wearing cowboy boots? Well, what's wrong with them? And it's really important that we have a little bit of an open mind. And I feel like this person, it's almost like they're punishing themselves because they have such a limited mindset. They are not capable of appreciating all the different types of people that exist in this world, all the different colors of like a sunset that make it so beautiful, that we wouldn't want to watch a sunset that's just one shade of like orange. What makes it cool is like that there's purple over there and pink there and red there and yellow, and all these different colors come together to make it spectacular. But the thing about it is, I feel like this person, it's almost like they think there's one way of living life. They think there's one way of doing things. And also they're just so selfish. This person is very self-centered. This person is very much thinking of themselves, about them getting ahead, about that they need to win at all costs. And they are not capable of really being open-minded or really putting themselves in anyone's else's shoes. So to a certain extent, it's not even like they're trying to be evil or they are, trying to hurt you. It's just like someone who's viewing the world through, I don't know, the opposite side of a pair of binoculars, or someone who, just doesn't have a full vision of things and is only able to view a tiny portion. And really, that's a part of their karma, is that they are not going to be able to see all the beauty that the world has to offer and meet all kinds of different people and have a beautiful, wonderful experience in life because they're so judgmental. So that's going to come back to bite this person. Feels like they are super money focused, super status focused, and very like weirdly competitive with so many different people. They're just kind of a selfish, I don't like this person's energy type of person. Let me get into some astrology dice. What kind of astrological energies might be at play with this person? What kind of signs might be present in this person? Okay, so we got Pluto, aka Scorpio, second house, Taurus, double Taurus. Interesting. Okay, so the second house, which Taurus rules, is the house of earned income. And like I was saying, this person is super money obsessed. They're super status obsessed. The second house is kind of what we do and how we prove our worth and how we show the world that we have accomplished something, or that we are a good worker, or that we are valuable. You know, it's like how we show value to the world. And I feel like this person thinks that they really need to do that. They really don't feel actually very worthy. So they're kind of obsessed with using things outside of themselves, maybe even non-monetary things, to try to show that they do have value. So it might even be things like how they look. It might be something like how they dress, and maybe they're not even spending that money on it, but they're all about that status. They're all about fitting in. They're all about showing the world that, like, I am bougie, or I am beautiful, or whatever. This person is giving me a very vain, self-centered, kind of self-focused energy, even if they have nothing to be vain about. And that might be also why you got under their skin, is because you, I feel, pile one, a lot of you guys make a great impression. You might be very physically attractive. You might just be very great with words and be very charming. But there's something about you that this person considers to be a direct threat. And then we have Pluto, aka Scorpio energy, and they just showed me the image of the scorpion. And why Scorpio can be such a formidable opponent. It is ruled by Mars, but whereas Aries is the diurnal version of Mars energy, so the day version, Scorpio is that nocturnal night version. So it's kind of like hidden in the shadows, whereas Aries will attack you out in the open. Aries will just like fight you. And then Scorpio will kind of keep it on the DL. They'll kind of like, they're not necessarily going to fake it, but they'll be like, no, I don't have a problem with you. And then boom, like sting you with the stinger when you're least expecting. I'm not saying all Scorpios are like this, or Tauruses, by the way. Just this is how the energy comes to me, but they may have Taurus or Scorpio placements. And so the thing about Scorpio is, like, again, it may not be someone you can predict. A lot of Scorpios, they don't even waste their time with like the fake stuff, but they're not going to show you that they're coming at you right away. And I do feel like this person kind of hid or concealed their intentions, and kind of hid and concealed how they were really feeling. I don't feel like they came full force to truly be like, I'm coming for pile one. I hate pile one. I feel like they kept a lot of that inside of themselves, and they very much kind of didn't play games, but they're just kind of like a secretive. They kind of know deep down that what they're doing is a little bit shameful and stupid. So I do feel like they try to keep it to themselves. And another thing that these signs have in common is they're both fixed signs. Taurus and then Scorpio, both fixed energy. And with fixed energy, we're talking about kind of stubborn, kind of like making their mind up and then sticking to it. So again, I feel like it's almost like you didn't stand a chance with this person. Like, they made their mind up from the jump, and there was nothing you could have done to even like change it. I feel like this person, it's almost a flex that they don't like you, because they are so closed-minded. They don't even really have good taste. Like, to be honest with you, it's giving me that quote from Dita Von Teese where she says, you could be the ripest, juiciest peach in the world, and there's still going to be someone who doesn't like peaches. Like, I feel like this person, it's almost like they're offended that you are a ripe, juicy peach. They can see that you are a ripe, juicy peach, and it drives them crazy. So I feel like there's something where they may perceive you as well as having less power than them. And they might just be a sadist, or someone who's sadistic or kind of power hungry and willing to throw you under the bus because they perceive that as like, well, I'm going to get more power for myself. And if I have to step on this person on the way up, I don't care. That's awesome. That's fine with me. But honestly, there's so much karma coming from this type of energy. There's so much karma coming from someone who's willing to lie, be duplicitous, and throw people under the bus, whether they deserve it or not, just for the sake of getting ahead. They have a real scarcity mindset. And I feel like, I mean, we pulled literally cards that mention that. And I feel like they think that, like, if they're not doing it, someone else will. So I'm just going to go get ahead, and I'm not going to let someone steal this from me. And they are more than happy to throw an innocent bystander under the bus, or a nice person, a kind person under the bus, in order to get that and make that happen. So yeah, to be honest with you, this person just seems like a kind of trash, garbage person. And I think you should take it as a major compliment that they don't like you. I'd be like, practically doing a jig. If someone like this didn't like me, I'd be like, yes, I'm doing something so right. And the worst thing is that actually, if you're around this kind of a person and you do have status and power and they do feel like sucking up to you, it's even worse. Like if you are a super high level celebrity, these types of people will flock to you. And it is like the worst thing, because instead of just being directly like, yeah, I don't mess with this person, they will suck up to you and try to appeal to you, and then you get entangled with their toxic energy. So take it as a blessing that they have shown their true colors and that you guys know this person isn't actually a fan of yours, and just do everything you can to kind of honestly, I would say stay away from this person. They are just, to me, it's giving like loser vibes. Like, get your own bag instead of hating on others and trying to take something from someone else. So I hope that makes sense. Pile one. I always want to hear about how readings resonate with you, but I'm definitely really curious about this one. So please let me know in the comments who this person is and what they're up to, whether you think this fit them or not. Let me know. Also, make sure to like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit the like button, and also subscribe, turn on notifications, hit the little bell so you can find out as soon as I post next. And if you want to see more of my content, head to my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. I just posted a reading all about, what did I post a reading about? Oh yeah, how it's going to happen for you. So your big manifestation, the big thing you've been working on and dreaming up and hoping, or the new thing you've been wishing for, the new phase in your life, whatever it is, we're going to talk about how it will happen and when it's going to happen for you and what you have to look forward to, and get all the details. It's a really long, detailed reading. So if you want to watch that, head to my Patreon, and the link for that is underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description. And if you want to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me. Have me pull tarot for you, read your astrology, or channel for you. You get to choose what we talk about and use your time as you see fit. So thanks for watching, guys. And by the way, the link for a private reading with me is on my website for briarrosetarot.com. But thanks for watching, guys. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I'll see you again in another reading. Take care. Bye. Hey Pile 2, welcome to your reading. So this reading has two separate parts. Over here we have how they perceive you, and over here we have why they're hating. So we're going to get into both of those. Let's start with your tarot. So you guys got the Ace of Wands, Nine of Wands reversed, Knight of Pentacles, and the Five of Wands reversed as far as how they perceive you. And over here for why they're hating, we have the Two of Wands reversed, Six of Cups, the Seven of Wands reversed, and the Page of Wands. So first of all, they perceive you as being very powerful. With the Ace of Wands leading off the reading as how they perceive you, they think of you as a force of nature. They see you as a powerhouse. They see you as someone who has quite a lot of potential, possibly even power. They may see you as someone who's in an elevated position, or seeing you as someone who's over them or above them in some way. And I feel this creates a lot of resentment towards them. Over here for why they're hating, we have the Seven of Wands reversed really sticking out to me, and also the Six of Cups sticking out to me. But the Seven of Wands reversed is a very competitive card. Might be someone who sees fighting and competition in everything they do. So maybe they can't just like, put together a puzzle with a friend. They have to be the best at putting together that puzzle, or they can't just like have fun and play a video game with someone, but it turns into like this crazy battle. It's someone who might always perceive that there's power, that there's status, there's something to be won, and they might have trouble genuinely relaxing, or even with their emotional side, balancing their emotions. We also got the Six of Cups. That can indicate that this person is highly childish. So I feel like you will know who this person is based on their childish behavior. It's almost like they have a childish sense of humor or a juvenile way of talking. They might seem quite immature for their age, and there might be something about them that just sticks out to you as like, how old are you? Are you going to grow up? Like, that joke you said is so corny. Or maybe they just do things that just seem really out of step for their age and for the maturity you would expect from an adult in their position or whatever. And I feel like a lot of that is true. Like it goes deeper than just with you. It's not just with you that they're immature, they are immature in general, and they have almost a childish way of looking at the world. I wouldn't be surprised this person somehow thinks of you as having power over them in some way. So I don't know if this could even be like someone you literally have power over, like maybe you're their manager. I could also see this being flipped because there's some kind of power dynamic coming through really strong. So this could even be like your boss or your parents, but in a weird way, they're thinking of you as their boss or their parents. Like it's giving me the vibes of sometimes, parents will parentify their kids, and instead of like being the mature one, the parent will like blame the kid for a lot. And it's like, excuse me, that's like the child. They didn't have the responsibility there. I don't know, but there's something here that's a little dysfunctional with the power dynamic or them resenting you for perceived power over them. And it's almost like wanting to throw a tantrum or trying to claw you down because they see you as better than them in some way. I'm hearing I want to teach this person a lesson. So I feel like this person really wants to like send you a message. It's almost like they think that you think low of them. They think that you think you're better than them, or you think that they're not so special. I feel like this person, it's almost like they have a bone to pick with you, or they have an axe to grind. They have some kind of vendetta against you that feels like it's gone on for a really long time. And I feel like for some of these people, they have been watching from the shadows for a long time. They have been seeing you guys do well, and you might not have even ever considered them or really thought a lot about them. Maybe they just felt like they emerged one day in your life, but when you actually did research about it, or if you could fully know the truth, it would turn out that they were like keeping tabs on you somehow. Like maybe you thought you met them randomly out at a bar one night, but they had been watching you across the room as soon as you entered, and they finally came up to you 3 hours later and they were like tracking every movement. Or maybe even before that, like they had seen you around town before and they somehow found your Instagram and they were lurking, and then they played it off. Or maybe, you started working with them at the office and you just thought it was like a random meeting, but that they had been like tracking and aware of you for a really long time. I just feel like this person, it's like they see you as so dynamic. They see you as so powerful. With the Ace of Wands, that can be a super charismatic energy, and it's also very attractive, very highly charged. So a lot of people, they may perceive you as someone who has a lot of people interested in them, who has a lot of charisma, who has a lot of people who like them, and a lot of people who think of them as either fun or exciting. And a lot of people who are just kind of tracking them. And this person, it's almost giving like they want to be you in some way. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they want to step into your shoes. They want to replace you. And they are like, it feels like I just heard they're coming for your crown. They're coming for your status in some way. It feels like they want to trade places with you. If they could snap their fingers and switch sides with you, I feel like they would in an instant. We also got the 9 of Wands reverse. I'm hearing this person say really loudly in my head, they don't appreciate what they have. So there's something where it's giving kind of like the movie Single White Female, how she completely takes over this woman's identity, moves into her apartment, tries to get with her boyfriend, and tries to start dressing like her, changing her hair. Like I feel like this person wants what you have. There's something that you have that this person deeply, deeply wants, and they see you as someone who's almost vulnerable at this point. They see you as someone, I'm not gonna lie, who might be a little bit clueless right now or might have their guard down. There's something about this person waiting to see you fail or waiting to see you fall. So they may perceive that at the moment you're going through, if you have been going through a vulnerable time or you haven't been fully on your game lately, this person, if you thought they were just, kind of like on your side, and maybe they might even bring it up. They might be like, oh, you seem really stressed lately. How have you been? And you're like, oh, that's so nice of you to notice. So thanks for asking about me. Well, I'll be honest with you, like me and my boyfriend, we've been kind of fighting. And it's like, if you tell this person anything, they are going to take that and run with it. They're going to try to blow it up and unravel it into this whole tapestry. Like I'm seeing someone like knitting and taking one small piece of material and knitting it into like a beautiful, huge, massive tapestry that covers an entire wall. Like I feel like this person would take one small bit of information from you and they would just string together something so huge out of it. So I would not be telling them anything, but there is this perception almost like there's an empty hole right now, or there's some kind of room for me to get in here. So there's some kind of like gap, chink in your armor, or something like that, so to speak. So, and it's funny, as I'm saying that, I see this guy literally has armor on this card with this Knight of Pentacles. And I feel like they see that. They see you as someone who is tough and kind of impenetrable, and it's almost like, ooh, there's a little gap here. I can get in through this. I do feel like this person might literally be outwardly kind of coming for your position or status. I don't know if this person is a competitor for you or like someone who you might work with and they're competing, but I feel like they do see you as a competition, and a competition that they intend to stomp out. They are going to try to bring you down, take you out. And I feel like they have been trying to watch and see what position you're in and see how they can do this for a really, really long time. And they're not intending to fight fairly. They're intending to play dirty. We got the Five of Wands reversed, so it feels very underhanded, and this person may literally enjoy conflict for the sake of it. They may think of this as kind of like fun. This is exciting to me. Like, I just love to fight with this person. I mean, we got the Page of Wands over here representing why they're doing this, so it may just be for the fun of it. Page of Wands is also a very immature energy. All the Page are the youngest of the court cards. So with the Page of Wands also being in a fire sign, it is giving kind of like immature fire, because fire can like to fight for the sake of it. And so this person may just literally not know what they're doing. I always think fire, low vibrational fire, not high vibrational, of course, but low vibrational fire can kind of be like that town that gets burned down for no reason, you know, like a out of controlled wildfire that just burns down a whole city, and like there was no point. You know what I mean? Like, of course, fire is key to the survival of civilization, and it changed so many things. It made people evolve and be able to consume meat, which I think helped humans immensely, right? To like create civilization and stuff. But it's like, that's high vibrational fire. Low vibrational fire is like a random stupid fire that like a kid starts by, I don't know, like borrowing their dad's lighter and ends up creating a wildfire that destroys like an entire stretch of wilderness or an entire state or an entire town. It's that out of control fire energy with no thought to it that could sometimes be so destructive. Fighting for the sake of it, arguing for the sake of it, just doing something and then thinking it through later, acting first, asking questions later. And I feel like this person may be very impulsive. This person may be someone, like I said, who just comes off emotionally quite immature. They may come off like someone that giggles at inappropriate subjects or laughs at things that really aren't funny. Like someone's like, oh my gosh, you know, I had to go to a funeral, and the person starts laughing and then like is like, oh, sorry. I just like things, funerals are funny, sorry. Like that kind of a person where it's kind of like, okay, maybe you should grow up a little, because it's not super cute to be doing that when you're like 45, you know? I feel like this person, it's like they have a very destructive quality, and they probably burned a lot of bridges in their life before. They probably have had a lot of dysfunctional relationships. They may have trouble maintaining relationships in general, trouble getting close to people, trouble holding even down a job or something like that, because I feel like this immaturity, it really is an Achilles heel for that. And it's funny because they're looking for your Achilles heel. They keep trying to figure out how they can get under your skin. And I feel like you guys stay really impassive, or you don't really let them see you sweat, and that just makes them want to get your attention more. It's almost like a little kid that is like tugging at the sleeve of their mom, and the more mom is just like ignoring them, the louder they're getting, and the more and more they're throwing a tantrum. I really feel like this person, in a weird way, the fixation and focus they have on you is kind of a flex, because they wouldn't be so fixated on you if you weren't as powerful as you are. So they know how like high status you are, and they know that you're not going to give your attention to them because they see you, they do put you up on a bit of a pedestal. It's kind of giving like the vibes too, where like sometimes you'll hear about like an obsessive fan who goes after like a celebrity because they wrote the like exactly like that song by Eminem, Stan, where we literally get the word Stan, where he's like writing to Eminem a million times and then he turns against him because he's like, you didn't respond to any of my letters. Like, I feel like this person almost has that energy where it's like, are you a hater or are you a fan? Because you're following this person really intensely. I feel like this person truly does lurk on you and wants to know everything you're up to. And if you've tried to put boundaries with them, they might be very sneaky about going around and finding underhanded ways to figure out more information about you. I don't feel like this person respects a no or is going to listen when you try to put up a boundary with them. I feel like they just barricade right over it. Just like fire isn't going to listen when you're like, oh, sorry, this is a house. You can't come in here. The door is locked. They're just gonna blow right through the whole house and the whole town. And this person to me is giving, I wouldn't be surprised if they are a low vibrational fire sign or have a lot of fire in their chart, aka Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. It just feels like this person, it's almost like someone needs to sit down with them and just set some boundaries. And like they should have done it to them when they were a child and been like, no, you need to stop. You need to grow up. You can't act this way. You can't have everything your way. Yeah, but I don't feel like this person responds well to boundaries. They may have literally had like neglectful parents that just let them run wild and let them do whatever they wanted. And I feel like there's this big resentment they have towards you. I'm hearing, why do they get that attention? Why do people pay attention to them? Why do they have this status? They want what you have, pile two. Whatever this is, in a way, it's like they wish they could be you. They want to step into your shoes. They want to be where you are. And it drives them crazy that they can't get access to this, whatever it is. I also feel like this person has probably done this kind of a thing to others in the past. They probably have burnt a lot of bridges. They probably have had a lot of negative experiences with others and had relationships that just didn't work out for them. And instead of ever doing any self-reflection, they will totally continue to play the victim and blame others rather than accepting that this was their fault. I don't feel like they do any of that processing of like, you know how when a relationship ends or a whatever relationship, romantic relationship, friendship, familial relationship, that you're like, oh, we're not talking anymore. And you do a little bit of that processing and kind of like that going back and forth in your mind about like, okay, so I did this and then they did that. Well, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but then they did say this. So that was kind of unfair. And you kind of like go back and do a little like accounting of what happened and how it went down. I don't feel like this person ever does that. That's just not in their nature. They are so selfish and so self-centered and self-focused. They literally don't even pause for a moment to imagine that they're in the wrong or that they've done anything bad. They just kind of go on to the next, and they're very chaotic, I should say, but they're reminding me of like an agent of chaos. I think Tom Cruise said that about his dad, that he was a quote unquote merchant of chaos, and I've never forgotten that phrase. And I feel like this person is that too. It's giving like bull in a china shop energy, like someone who just ruins everything around them and just like messes up everything. Not to be harsh, but like I feel like this person, if they got hired at a job, they would cause chaos there. They would cause tension there. If they were in a friend group, they would cause problems there. They are constantly someone that I feel like has grievances, gets upset, has a lot of tension, gets negative, feels awful about things, gets resentful, is super immature, and it's just, yeah, I think it's like honestly a problem for them in the rest of their life. Let's get into some more cards for this person. So we got Joyful Muse, Inspiration, Empty Well, Time to Replenish, Fortune's Wheel, Luck and Right Timing, and Vanishing Mirror, Ego Sublimation. There's some kind of thought of this person that they need to like bring you down to size. Like I'm hearing they're too big for their britches or something like that. Like they feel like you have been put up on a pedestal by others, and they are very resentful of that. In their mind, they should be the star. They should be the center of attention, not you. And it's not fair and it's not okay. And they're mad about it. They are going to try to take that center stage position and try to get other people's attention on them. They don't feel like you should have anyone looking at you, noticing you, paying attention, and they feel like they're the real one who deserves to have people liking them and drawn to them in the way that people are drawn to you. So I feel like in a way, this person is trying to get your attention, trying to get under your skin. They want you to be irritated by them. They want to take your energy and bring it down a little because they are trying to hurt you. They are trying to make you doubt yourself and question yourself and actually trying to ruin your ego. And again, if this is a low point you're at, if you've been like struggling, I feel like this person has been plotting and planning all this for a really long time, and they're finally ready to strike now. Like they may be intuitive in that way of being like, let me see, I just have a feeling that this would be the perfect time to do it. They definitely kind of watch you and pay attention. And I feel like they were just waiting for a moment to strike. They were just waiting for their moment to enact this plan, but they have wanted what you've had for a really, really long time. And again, I feel like this person has done this before. It's almost like they are so empty on the inside that they constantly need something to distract themselves with. They constantly need a conflict, a negative energy, something to fight for because it makes them feel alive and it distracts them from their own messed up life. So if it wasn't with you, they'd be finding someone else. They're the kind of person that probably fixates on strangers or might spend a lot of time online just posting negative stuff. They might be someone who just spends a lot of time causing trouble. I wouldn't even be surprised if this is the kind of person that would like constantly lodge complaints or, you know, like file a bunch of frivolous lawsuits. You know, I used to work in family law, and there are people that will just file like 200 lawsuits a year. Maybe not that many, but you can get in trouble for filing too many. But there are people who will just like take someone to court for no reason habitually. And sometimes they make a lot of money off of that, but there's usually something a little mentally off because most normal people hate lawsuits. And it's giving the vibe of those. And we had clients like that they would walk in, they loved to fight. They couldn't wait to like get down and dirty. They wanted us to use all kinds of like nasty tactics. They'd be like, oh, I Googled it and I found out that there was a lawyer in Brazil and he did this and you should do that. And we'd be like, we're not allowed to do that. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's crazy what you're describing. But the thing is, you know, some people love to fight. They live, they thrive off conflict. And I feel like you have somehow just fallen into their crosshairs. Now it's like they are trained on you. Their mind is focused on you. They are convinced that whatever you have, you don't deserve, that you are like a fake person or disingenuous or people don't see the real you. A lot of this, I feel, is jealousy about how you're perceived by others, the level of respect you guys get from others, and also this feeling possibly that you guys are way too lucky, like you've had everything handed to you or everything magically works out for you, and how that's not fair. I don't know if some of you guys are just very physically attractive as well, because the Ace of Wands can also represent that. Someone who has a lot of charisma, je ne sais quoi, this fire around them, passion. It means a lot of people are probably very attracted to them and find them extremely appealing and just physically are like, woof, that person is really good looking. So that may be a factor as well. But I feel like a lot of this is just not understanding why people pay so much attention to you and this rage and jealousy this person feels, because in their mind, they should be the star of the show. Let's get into some more cards. So we got the Lady of the Gift, generosity, receiving, withholding, the Horse King, assistance, control, the River Queen, flow, letting go, natural movement, and finally the Phoenix, resurrection, surrender to change. And I didn't even notice that this Phoenix is engulfed in flames. So more fire energy for you guys. I feel like some of you guys have really embodied this energy of the River Queen, and you haven't even really wanted to fight this person. You may have been taking an attitude of kind of like disengagement, or just letting it rush over you and just kind of being really chill about it. And it's really interesting actually that the River Queen did come out over that fiery Phoenix, because water is the thing that can put out fire, and a lot of people don't associate that. Like I've heard people on TikTok being like, oh my gosh, water signs are so weak. And it's like, dude, the archetype of fire and water was picked for a reason, because yes, fire is intense and scary, and it's also super powerful, and it's not to denigrate fire signs, but sometimes having that placid, chill attitude or just being in your emotions can be one of the most powerful things of all. And I feel like that's what you guys have done. You've kind of been like that calm, still lake that you're not trying to fight them. You're not trying to go head to head with them. If anything, you might be trying to avoid them we can see here she's a mermaid, which is like half human, half fish. And of course, the fish Pisces, their style, because all the water signs have like protection, right? The Cancer is the crab and they have the hard shell. Scorpion has the stinger and the hard shell. But then the fish is just all on its own out there, like raw dogging it, just being a little soft little fish. But its protection is actually swimming away and disengaging and not even allowing someone to get in their peace. And I feel like a lot of you guys have done this. Like you have paid this person dust, or you have not even given them an ounce of attention, and it's just making them madder and madder and madder. They almost might feel like you're withholding something from them. Like I feel like in a way, this person started out as a fan. They started out really wanting to get to know you, really wanting to be on your radar, wanting to know you more and be in your inner circle. They wanted some kind of attention from you. They wanted you to give them all of your focus. They really, if they could, like they would cuddle up to you and, get to spend more time with you. Like they see, it's kind of giving like they're looking up to you, or like I said, a fan energy. So I feel like deep down, there is this huge resentment of like you owe me this, but you haven't given this to me. Like you're supposed to pay attention to me, and I can't believe you just ignored me. It's reminding me of that line from Fatal Attraction where she's like, I will not be ignored, Dan. And she says it in such a crazy way. That's what it's reminding me of. Yeah, I feel like this person is almost like they're trying to find a way to control you. They're trying to find a way to hold this over your head to get you to do what they want. They're trying to find a way to press your buttons until you're forced to respond to them. They're trying to find a way to cause so much emotional turmoil to you that you have no choice but to pay attention to them and to give them your energy. And I feel like the more you withhold that and stay in your peace, the angrier and angrier they're getting, just like that little kid who's grabbing at their mom's hemline and keeps screaming and gets louder and louder and louder because they can't imagine that their mom isn't paying them attention. So yeah, it's kind of intense. I can feel or see or totally understand why you're not wanting to engage with this person, because honestly, they seem a little bit crazy. I would probably want to keep my distance from this person as well. So let me get some astrology dice for pile number 2. Pile number 2, what are the signs present for this person, for this person's astrological signs and their energy? So we got Virgo, first house, aka Aries, and Jupiter, Sag. So 2 fire signs represented here. And then we have Virgo, which is an earth sign. So we have Aries, Sagittarius, and Virgo. So let's start out with Aries, the warrior of the zodiac. By the way, this might be these person's placements. They may have Virgo, Aries, or Sag placements. But let's start out with Aries. So Aries is the warrior, and Aries is the ram rushing into battle. And like I was describing, that kind of low vibrational fire, especially it's very present in Aries, because not low vibrational, but just the warrior, the willingness to fight, because it is ruled by Mars. Of course, there's plenty of high vibrational Aries, and I love Aries. I'm not hating. But this particular low vibrational version of it can be someone who's just prone to fighting whenever. They might like to fight. They might get a kick out of it. They might kind of have a bit of a bone to pick with everyone, a chip on their shoulder, kind of feeling like, yeah, well, I'm going to show you. Yeah, you're so comfortable in life. Well, you know what? I want to fight you. And they may literally resent people who seem peaceful. They may resent people who seem calm, seem in a good place, seem like they have high self-esteem, and seem well liked by others. I feel like this person especially has some kind of like trauma or some pain with them, with like not being liked or feeling left out, feeling neglected, feeling like they don't get attention paid to them, feeling like they should have been treated better by people in their past. So now they're going to like show you, that they don't need anyone or something like that. It's very dysfunctional, and it's very like immature and childish. Then we also have Sagittarius. Jupiter rules over Sagittarius. And so again, I was saying this also reminds me, Sagittarius, of the Wheel of Fortune, which we kind of had it represented here. And with the Wheel of Fortune, they may think of you as someone who's very, very lucky, someone who's had things handed to you, because Jupiter is a planet of luck. It is a benefic. It's a major benefic that can give abundance, expansion. And this person may not understand why you've had certain things work out for you. They may feel like you've had things given to you or handed to you and you don't deserve it. And it may really drive them crazy. we also have that fire energy of the archer. So again, all the fire archetypes have fighting abilities, whether you're talking about the Leo, the lion, or, Aries, the ram, or Sag, the archer. They all are involved in or they're conflict kind of, not afraid of conflict type animals or people. And the thing about the archer is it's always willing to get a new opponent, or get a new challenge, try something new. And again, in high vibrational energy, that's amazing. And it's someone who has a million hobbies and is keeping themselves busy and doing new things and new challenges and going new places, exploring. But in low vibrational energy, it's someone who might instigate conflict needlessly, see and perceive conflict. Someone might be minding their business and just, not say hi to this person because they don't know them, and the person gets really offended, or bump into them accidentally on the sidewalk and they're ready to fist fight them because they can't believe they were so disrespectful. And it's something that they should just literally just not even care about. So I feel like this person, it's like they really need some therapy. I don't know what they've gone through, but living this way would truly be exhausting to me. Like, I don't even know where they get the energy for this kind of behavior. Then we also have Virgo, and Virgo, can be very critical in its low vibrational manifestation. It can be someone who's always looking for flaws, and it's kind of methodical and surgical about that. So that's why Virgos can be a very worthy opponent. Honestly, all these things can be worthy opponents. But I don't know if this person is, other than the fact that they're just relentless. But the thing about Virgo is they will see your flaws. They will analyze you very ruthlessly and kind of methodically, and just go through everything about you and look at things super harshly. And I feel like this person has tried to do that with you. Like, again, I feel like they have tried to see all your flaws and really nitpick. And if there's any kind of vulnerability, it's reminding me of how back in the day, in the medieval era, they would surround these old castles or these medieval cities on the hills, the walled cities, and they would case them and circle around them and try to see, is that part of the wall slightly weaker? Is that one lower? Is there kind of an entrance through there? That door, could we break it down? That window, it's kind of low. Maybe we can, throw some rope up there and climb up that way. They're looking for an entrance. They're looking for a chink in the armor. They're looking for a way for them to get in there. And that's what I think is exhausting about dealing with someone like this, is it just feels like they are relentless, and their attention and fixation on you, I think, is just really draining to deal with. It's like, oh my God, why do I have to even worry about you so much? Why are you giving me so much attention? Move on, get a life. That's what it's making me think of. So yeah, I can see why this energy would just be very unpleasant to deal with. And honestly, like I said, even though it's flattering that this person is so fixated on you, it's also exhausting. The good thing though is if they are in a low vibrational kind of fire energy, that tends to burn itself out eventually. Just like all fires end, it doesn't have the longevity of earth or water. It's much more prone to burning out and then going out entirely. Just like fires, they just go out at one point and then that's it. And they're completely extinguished. So it's much easier to remove than, say, a puddle of water, which was seep into the ground and still affect things even after it's gone, or earth, which is harder to move and has a lot more permanence. So the thing about this is it might just be a matter of outlasting this person, kind of just using your best stamina. And that's why Mars is exalted in Capricorn, because it is that earth long-term energy. So sometimes the best way to be a worthy opponent, especially dealing with a fiery energy, is just to let them exhaust themselves, let them run themselves around and act all crazy and get super emotional about it, and then just keep doing what you're doing and just be chill and just ignore them, because at a certain point they just might not have any more ammunition to give, like the Sag, the archer running out of arrows, or the ram just finally being like, oh, well, I've been charging this person all day, I guess I'm gonna go home. So I would say that's your best bet. It seems like a lot of you guys are still doing that with this person, just avoiding and not giving them any attention, in which case I say good for you. Because yeah, this is just definitely really annoying to deal with. So anyways, I hope that resonates. Pile number 2. I love to hear it when you guys let me know if it resonates or not in the comments, but this time I'm really, really curious. I love hearing all the gossip. So please let me know who this person is and who they are to you, or any details about the situation, I would really love to hear it. Also, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, give this reading a like if it resonated. Also, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that little bell so you can find out as soon as I post. And if you want to see more of my content, head to my Patreon. I just posted a reading all about how and when it's going to happen for you. It's a really long and detailed reading. I think it's like 3 hours long, all about exactly how your manifestations are going to occur. If you have a dream, goal, something you're wanting, or something you've been waiting for, it's a really great one to watch to see the timeline for that and also exactly how it's going to go down. So if you want to watch that, go to my Patreon, and as soon as you sign up, you'll get access to over 65 additional readings about every topic under the sun: love, life, spirituality, money, career, friends, everything that I can think of. So if you want to join us over there, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description, and I would love to see you there. Also, if you want to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me, have me pull your tarot, read your astrology or channel for you, and ask me basically whatever you want. So if you want that reading with me, go to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back again very soon with another reading. So take care, guys, and I'll see you then. Bye. Hey Pile 3, welcome to your reading. So this reading has two separate parts. So this part is what they think of you, and this part is why they're hating. So we're going to get into both, but separately. So let's start out with the tarot. You guys got the Two of Cups, the Magician, the Ace of Wands, and the Nine of Swords as far as how they perceive you. And over here we have the Page of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles reversed, the Two of Wands reversed, and the Ten of Wands reversed for why they're hating. So let's get into it. So starting off, this may be a past romantic relationship with this Two of Cups leading off the reading, or they just find you very beautiful and something romantic about your energy. This person may have been close to you at one point. They may have been a close friend, someone you were in a relationship with, someone that you were very, as my mom would say, simpatico with at some point, like, you know, a bestie, or just someone you were really close to and really trusted. Or maybe this person just wanted that kind of relationship with you. I feel like this person puts you up on a pedestal in a way and sees you as very beautiful, sees you as very perfect in a way. And that might be why they're kind of so bitter now if you have taken your energy out of their life. Or it may have just been that, you know, kind of familiarity breeds contempt, and to a certain extent they were so close to you and it just made them start nitpicking. I don't know. We're going to unpack the psychology of them, but I do feel like this person has a little bit of awe towards you. We have the Magician card coming out as well. So they may see you as a magical manifestor, someone who just gets things done, someone who manages to make things happen, someone who's very special and unique and very powerful. I feel like this person, in a way, it's like a huge compliment because they really see all the special sides of you. They don't just see you as like an average, regular person. They see you as someone who really stands out of the crowd and someone who has so much potential around you. This person looked up to you. Either currently they still do, or at one point in time they looked up to you. They had you on a pedestal. They saw you as this like shining example and this very perfect person. And now, of course, we can see it transitioning into some negativity. And part of that may be because I feel like there's some of you guys that almost shone a light on this person of their flaws. Like maybe because they saw you thriving, it made them feel really bitter, and it made them start looking at their flaws and being like, yeah, I'm not good enough, or I'll never achieve what they've achieved, so let me just hate instead. We have this Ten of Wands reversed, and it's coming out underneath the Eight of Pentacles reversed. So it's interesting. Two hard work cards, and they're both reversed. I feel like this person, it's like maybe they see you guys, maybe you're a hard worker and they just don't want to work that hard, or maybe they'd rather claim that you're just magically making things happen and you're the magician and you just have things handed to you, or even that like because you are so romantically charming and possibly very attractive. We have the Ace of Wands as well, which can definitely indicate attractiveness, to say the least. They might say, oh well, they have people give them things because they're attractive, or they, you know, they're yeah, they like have a sugar daddy or something like that, even if it's completely untrue, they may blame that, or they might say, oh yeah, of course she's probably in another relationship by now. You know how she is. She's always dating, she's always charming these men, and like not in a complimentary way. This person feels a little bitter, and I feel like they are always looking to find an excuse for why you have the blessings you have, because they don't want to admit that they haven't put in the work that they should have. They don't want to admit that at the end of the day, you guys, they're the same person as you, right? In a way. I mean, not really, but they have the same hours in the day as you have. They have the same time. They could have done things with their time. And it's almost like this person is possibly even a dreamer or a schemer type personality. Like they might be that kind of person that would start a million different businesses and none of them are successful. Or just are always, I feel like in a way this person also, like they have some kind of vibe I'm hearing of wanting to be the star, and whenever they see someone get kind of close to them or get kind of like on their toes or kind of like getting close enough to their status or feeling like this person might outshine them, they start to get really irritated. So that's just an energy that just popped through right now. So take what resonates and leave the rest, because of course when it's a general reading, you sometimes get multiple energies slammed into one pile. But I do feel like this person, for a lot of you guys, it may have been someone you were really close to, someone you considered a close friend, a relationship, and they still do see you as really amazing. If you don't talk to this person and you guys unfollowed them, they may still check your Instagram and like copy your photos. You might find you post like a close-up photo of a flower and the next post on their feed is a close-up photo of a flower, and you're like, come on. No one posts that and you post it like a few weeks after I posted that. Come on. And I feel like this person is like, they are kind of a fan. They are an admirer of you and they definitely copy and learn from you, but they're not mature enough to give you that credit. I feel like a lot of them may want what you have, or again, they may perceive you as someone who's just going to do really well. And if this is someone you are in a romantic relationship with, they could maybe just resent the fact that you have taken your energy out of their life. So we did get the Ace of Wands, we got the Two of Cups. They may still be very attracted to you and they may still think of you as the love of their life. And this may be some resentment that they're no longer getting that access to you. They no longer get to be that close to you and you don't have the same time for them that you did in the past. I feel like in a way this person wants a lot of your attention. They want to be around you. They want to be the focus for you. And, for them, I feel like a lot of them, in a way, there's so much awe around you. There's so much like respect for how you handle yourself, but then it turns into a lot of like self-hate, because at the end of the day, they are really disappointed with the fact that they don't have this sparkle you have. They don't have this amazing effect on others that you have, and people aren't drawn to them in the same way they're drawn to you. And I'm getting the vibe that some of them might even try to guilt you for this. They might try to guilt you into things or act like, again, you've had things handed to you, you've had it so easy. Of course, you'd get this because, you're a spoiled brat or something like that. I feel like this person struggles a lot with feelings of competition. They tend to rank everyone with like, oh, this person has that or that person's getting ahead. And in their mind, they can't stand to be standing next to you because you get all the attention. And a lot of you guys outshine them 10-1. And it's not something they are comfortable with or that makes them feel good. So I feel like that has twisted over time from admiration and respect from you into contempt and anger, and feeling almost like you're hurting them because you provoke these negative emotions on them. But actually what they really should do is just take that seriously and be like, okay, so what can I improve about my life? Why am I unhappy at the place I'm at? And what can I do to improve my situation? But I feel like they really take the easy way out and just spend a lot of time blaming you and acting like you're doing something evil or you're mean or cruel or you're selfish, because you won't give them as much time and attention as they demand. So this person is, like I said, very dysfunctional. I feel like they really, I feel like they don't want to take a good hard look at themselves. I feel like they spend a lot of time running away from their kind of reality. Another interpretation of the Ten of Wands reverse can be someone who just repeatedly works really hard. In a way, those people who like will be a workaholic or dive into work and just literally never take a break. Sometimes people use that as a distraction. People sometimes will use that as a way to prevent themselves from focusing on the rest of their lives. So maybe they're really unhappy with their marriage, so they just end up pulling a bunch of all-nighters at the workplace so they don't have to go home. And I feel like in a way, this person could focus themselves on other things, because whenever they have to think of you, I'm feeling like it really causes a hit to their self-esteem. Whenever they, think about what you have going on or even see photos of you, because again, I feel like for some of you guys, this intimidation could literally be physical. It could be about how you look. So if they see a photo of you, I feel like it just sends their self-esteem plummeting if you are physically attractive. And whatever the situation is with you, I feel like a lot of it is this comparison and feeling like they're never going to measure up, and like, why would I even try? I'll never be as good as pile number 3. I will never be able to measure up to them. They're so perfect. Everyone loves them. And being very like jaded and sarcastic and kind of angry about this. And also, this person may be very confused with what they want to do in life. I feel like there is bitterness coming through, possibly about the place they ended up, possibly about the big dreams they had that didn't work out or something like that, or thinking they would be further ahead in life and really not liking the fact that in the comparison game, you seem to be doing better. But this person keeps saying, like, it's like they're like, pile 3 didn't even work hard for this. Pile 3 had it handed to them. They keep emphasizing that you've just had things happen for you easily and just fallen into things, fallen into blessings and not had to put the work in. Now, I don't know if that's true, because obviously I feel like they're really biased, just relaying what they're saying, but I feel that there's this deep sense of unfairness. Like, it's almost giving me the vibe of like a sibling who resents another sibling, like the prettier sibling or the sibling that is mom's favorite, because it's just so unfair, And there is some truth to that if like your parents are playing favorites, but it's like maybe get mad at mom and not the kid who had nothing to do with it. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel like this person, it's almost like this rage has built up, and the fact that you guys were close at one time allowed them the proximity to really drive it home how unfair it was in their mind. Because maybe at one point they could be like, yeah, but I'm sure pile 1 is doing a lot for it. And now they realize that a lot of the things and blessings that came to you, it was just effortless. It was just people being drawn to you. It was people being captured by your charisma and just liking the things you do and liking who you are and enjoying you. And that's something that I feel like this person just has this insecurity that they'll never be able to measure up to that. They will never be able to compare or have people drawn to them in the same way you do. Let's get into some more cards. So we got First Breath, Beginner's Mind, Watchers, Transpersonal, Stranger, Curiosity, and Overflow, Overwhelm, and Plenty. So if you have cast this person out of your life and you put up boundaries with them and you no longer, like I said, follow them on social media or allow them to be close to you, they definitely lurk and kind of like stalk your social media pages. I feel like they are super curious about everything you have going on. If they could like follow you around with a video camera, they probably would. If you were like, oh, I'm just going to post a vlog one day, like I'm starting a YouTube channel and no one else watched it, they'd be the one view, you know what I mean, that you'd see on YouTube. Like, I feel like they are definitely fixated and definitely wanting to know everything you have going on. And in a way, it's a huge compliment, because I feel like in a way, like their version of you just seems so dramatic and over the top. Like, I feel like it's almost like they think of you as like a Regina George character, or if you're a guy, like, I don't know, for some reason I'm seeing like Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day when he was playing like Conan the Barbarian, and he's like this masculine guy. Like, I feel like they do see you as like this major threat and this kind of epitome of either female or masculine beauty. And like, oh, wow, they must have such a glamorous life. They must be doing so many exciting things. Like, I feel like their version of you is probably much more dramatic and exciting than your actual daily life. But according to them, like, you have all these crazy things happening and you're going places and you're doing things. And I feel like this person does struggle with a little bit of a sense of shame because I do feel like deep down, they know how dysfunctional this is. They know that it's crazy the attitude they have towards you. And they do, if they did betray you in some way, if they did screw you over or really hurt you, they are acknowledging that they do feel guilt about it. So if that has been bothering you and you're like, I don't even think they care, they do. And they do stay up at night and think about it. And it's really interesting because Nine of Swords reverse, and we kind of gloss that over. Technically, that's in your pile, but that might be this person's energy as well, because it all makes sense. I didn't mean to gloss over that, but let's talk about it a little bit, because it may also be their fear that they have hurt you. It may be that they feel like, you know, they do know deep down that they have done you wrong and that they have been mean to you and they have been cruel to you, but it's almost like I can't help myself. I can't help myself because I have so much contempt for you. I'm so angry and I don't know what to do with this emotion. So I know I'm doing something bad. I know I'm hurting you, but I'm going to do it anyway because you know what? You deserve it because you're a jerk. It's almost like I feel like this person needed to dehumanize you. You know, they needed to turn you into like this caricature villain type character. They needed to turn you into this like mustache twirling Disney villain. Like I'm seeing Captain Hook from Peter Pan, just like this clown-like character over the top in order to justify the things they were doing. So they may even tell narratives about you that just are like so dramatic. Like someone if you have a mutual friend with this person, or if they're an ex and you have again mutual friends that knew both of you, you might meet up with that mutual friend and they're like, oh my god, by the way, I was talking to your ex, or I ran into your old friend, or whatever, I saw your sister, or whoever this is, and they might be like, and they said you stole money from them. Did you steal money? And you're like, what? No, I didn't steal money. Like, what? And they'll be like, yeah, they said you stole $500. And it's like, no, I did not do that. What the heck? Or just like something crazy. Or like, they said you crashed your car because you'd been drinking. And you're like, I never crashed my car. You can see my car. I didn't crash it. What are they? I don't even drink that much. Like, I feel like this person, it's almost like they spin these narratives to the point where they might even believe it. Or they might, you know, if you have to take your dog to the vet because your dog is sick, they might say like, oh, they abused their dog or something, you know? Like, I feel like it's so crazy, but it's almost like they have gotten to the point where they believe the BS they're saying because they had to tell themselves this stupid stuff to make themselves feel better for hating you. Because what it comes down to, and this is the thing that this person is so afraid to acknowledge, is that really it's their own mediocrity causing this. Really deep down, it is the fact that they perceive you as being better and they perceive you as so amazing, and they're not willing to admit that to themselves. They want to live in this delusional world. They don't even want to take a look at their deep-seated feelings of inadequacy, of not being good enough, and the fact that also they're like overly competitive. Because like you can also feel not good enough and not turn into a crazy lunatic. You know, I mentioned before, but I have an older sister who's like super smart. She's so intelligent. She taught herself to read at like age 4, and she's just always been super smart. And everyone's always told me, you know, your sister's so smart, blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh, she's so smart. And I never resented that. I was never angry about it. I was never vengeful. I never tried to like outpace her. I was always like, yeah, she is really smart. And I was happy for her to be in that lane. And I was like, well, I'll go into the artistic lane and I'm not going to be the super smart, like always reading, like savant type. I'm just going to be like the arty one. And that's the thing, is like we don't have to compete. That's like a choice you make to be like, screw you, you're better at this. It's like, yeah, she's better at some things than me and I'm better at some things. And I think when you're confident with yourself, you're not bothered by someone being better at something than you. You're like, yeah, they're better at that and I'm good at this, and you're chill about it. But it's like this person deep down has such a sense of inadequacy, and they see you as so perfect that they can't have that maturity. They can't look at things honestly and be like, yeah, I overreacted. I also feel like if this person did do something crazy towards the end of the relationship, there is this feeling as well of regret and also embarrassment about how they handled it. Like, it's like they do know deep, deep down that they have been acting out of pocket and crazy, and they do know that you don't deserve it. And I also feel like this person has a little bit of fear of like you not accepting their apology, or you being like, F off. I don't want anything to do with you. And this person doesn't quite know how to say it. So I feel like instead they lurk your socials, they kind of pay attention to what you're doing, but they're not brave enough to step forward. And they also might feel, if it's been a few years since you talked to this person, again, it's a general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. But if it has been a few years since you last talked to this person, they may also feel like you're a totally different new person with this first breath beginner's mind card. So they may think of you now as like, oh my gosh, they are completely different. They don't look the same. They don't act the same. They have this new identity, new vibe to them. And I'm never going to be able to get back in their life. Like I feel like you do seem like if there has been time that's elapsed, you feel like you have just been very graceful and handled yourself really well and not really sunk down to their level. And if they did really hurt you, again, their higher self is kind of acknowledging it. I don't know if their like actual human self will acknowledge this, but I do feel like there are nights when they would admit to themselves like, I can't believe I acted that way. I can't believe I said that, or I can't believe I did that to them. And I don't think they deserved it, but then it's like in the morning, they'll just like put that out of their mind and keep going and completely ignore the fact that they know deep down that they did mess up. And there is still this sense of like, yeah, but they deserved it. They have all this stuff handed to them. Overflow, overwhelm, and plenty card coming out. A card of abundance, a card of ease, a card of like things flowing easily to someone. And so this still this feeling of like, yeah, maybe I was mean to them, but you know what? They have an easy life. It's probably about time someone said something mean to them because, everyone else sucks up to them. Like it's like that kind of bitter, hater, jealous energy. Let's get into some of these cards. So we got the Eyes of Beauty. Oh my God. See, I'm telling you, a lot of this is just about your physical appearance, and either they dated you in the past or just in general, they see you as so beautiful. And there's this sense of unfairness. There's this sense of jealousy. There's this sense of why do they get to look like that? Why are they so beautiful? Why are they someone who captures a lot of people's attention? If this is an ex, it could be someone who's very jealous at the idea of you dating someone new, or might even tell themselves a narrative about like, yeah, they used me. Even if they didn't do anything for you, right? Like it's so funny when someone's like, someone used me for blah, blah, blah. And you're like, for what? You don't have much. You know what I mean? But anyway, they may be like, oh, they used me. And they use everyone. They use their looks to get away with it. They charm people, but they're a faker or something like that. Like I feel that they kind of twist your positive qualities and all the beautiful energy you give off, and they try to turn it into a negative. They try to turn it into a bad thing and something that is kind of like wrong with you, or something that is lame about you, or something that is pathetic about you. There's a lot of this kind of, how can I make this into a negative thing? How can I turn something that so many people admire and turn it into something that is bad and low vibrational and sad about them? So yeah, I think that deep down, it really is a lot of envy and a lot of never being willing to forgive you for the fact that you did better than them. That's what it really comes down to, is like, I can't believe you didn't let me become the center stage. I can't believe your best beat out my best. I'm so angry that you didn't subjugate yourself and lower yourself down so that I could feel good about myself. So we also got, oh my goodness. Okay, I didn't see these before. The Sacred Union. I'm telling you, I know this for some of you guys is an ex. We also got the Two of Cups. And even if it wasn't romantic, it may have been a really close friendship, or a sister relationship that was so close, or a brother relationship that was so close. But it feels like there was a lot of closeness at one point. And I feel like for you guys, this betrayal really hit deep. This is maybe why this person does feel guilt about it. And I feel like the thing about this that's kind of good for you guys, not to be sadistic, but this guilt is going to keep eating away at them. And I feel like it's going to be something they're kind of going to have to deal with for life. They're going to have to run from it continuously. And they might finally reach a point where they're so exhausted that they finally reach out and apologize, but they might not. They might continue running from it and just being dysfunctional. But it's kind of nice to know, right? Like, we want to know deep down that the people that have been horrible to us, that at some point at least they'll feel guilty. And I feel like that is part of their karma, is that like they do feel guilty. They might be able to suppress it for a while. They they might be able to pretend that none of this happened and they deserved it, but deep down, when they're late at night, when they're laying in bed and trying to go to sleep, thoughts of you and thoughts of what they did come to their mind. I just heard the line from Sorry Miss Jackson by Outkast. I love that song. But where they said, thoughts of me, thoughts of she, thoughts of the stories that her and me had. Yeah, and it's kind of like this requiem for an old relationship, that song is. And I feel that this person, if it is an old relationship, they may spend a lot of time also. Like, they can run away from their thoughts for a while. And even if someone asks them about you, they may be like, oh, screw them. Like, they're crazy, or like they were the worst girlfriend ever. No, I'm so glad we broke up. But when they're alone, I feel like they wouldn't tell this to anyone, but they do think about you. There may be someone they also talk about and reminisce with you. So if this was like a friend group or multiple friends that betrayed you at the same time, then they do talk about you with someone else. Not sure who that applies to or who that's for, but yeah, I feel like there is an energy of some of the people in here where if there's multiple, or if there was someone else involved in this betrayal, they may talk about this person with you, and both of them, it's like one of those conversations where there's so much hidden under the surface, and both of them are like, yeah, I know. Like, I can't believe she did that. Can't believe she said that. Yeah, it was great when we finally told her off. And there's like this awkward vibe, where like both of them know that they're kind of like lying to each other and lying to themselves even. But they don't want to say it because it's like too dark and it's too much to dive into. But yeah, this person kind of knows they screwed up. I feel that they bury it down in their subconscious, but they do know. And the more time passes, the more they kind of have to admit it. Yeah, I feel like you guys have moved on with such grace. And as I'm saying that, wow, I love when I pull cards and, don't see them. And then when I'm pulling them, I'm just like, I literally just said this. I know it sounds like I'm doing it on purpose. I'm not. Okay, so we got the Swan Queen, transformation, intuition, patience, and the resting tree, patience, stillness. It's funny how this came out because I kind of feel like, this is definitely a lot of them depictions of your energy, and these two go together so well, and so do these. But I do feel like you have had this very like patient, still, like I feel like I was saying, you carry yourself, it feels to me, with such grace. Like I feel like there was something about you where you may not have even responded to this person when they were hating or when they were doing negative stuff to you. You may have just completely ignored it or glossed over it or kind of just put it out of your mind or not done anything back to them. And if that is the case, I feel like, again, this is something that they did notice. They did notice the fact that you didn't fight back so hard. You kind of like, it feels like you just went on your way and you were like, oh, that's how it is? Okay, bet. And bye. See ya. Don't let the door split you. Were they good? Wait, I just said that completely wrong. That ruined that effect. So we'll just move on. But my point is that you probably moved on with a lot of grace. You probably didn't like stay and fight. I think sometimes when people do nasty stuff to you, what they're really craving is for you to like have a meltdown, for you to be like, screw you, I can't believe it, and blah, and like throw your, TV into the wall and like have a complete mental break. And that's really what they want, is especially when you have this energy where they put you up on a pedestal and they see you as so perfect. It's like they want you to get all dirty. They want you to have a break and to see this kind of like perfect facade shatter and crack. But instead, I feel like you just were so graceful and you were like, okay. All right, well then I'm leaving. Bye. And just like kept your grace, kept your decorum, didn't let them get to you, didn't let them, get you all shaken up. It feels like you just moved through life and really allowed yourself to stay in your peace and your calm. And I feel like that, if anything, has really, like, this person does think of that. And they do think about like, I can't believe I kind of like handled it like that. And it didn't really work out. I feel like the way this person was intending, like, since they were kind of trying to sabotage you and stuff, they were wanting that meltdown. They were wanting that moment when you're screaming and tears are running down your face and you're crying and you're, calling them names, or you're being like, how could you do this to me? But instead it feels like you were just like, all right, you know what? That's fine. I'll leave. Okay. Take care. And you just didn't even let them see you sweat. And I feel like for them, that is something that they think about, is like, it's almost like, because sometimes when someone does have a meltdown, then you can justify it. You can be like, see, I told you they're crazy. They just started screaming and then they threw a TV into the wall. I told you they're completely nuts. Even if they prompted that breakdown with like a million nasty things of behavior, and they were like doing really horrible stuff to prompt that. I'm not saying that justifies throwing a TV into the wall, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes, you know, it's like there's a lot that goes ahead of like someone telling someone off, or someone screaming at them in their face, or someone, you know, storming out and like driving away. And that, but we could cast that as like, they're crazy, they just left the house and then they drove off and they sped off and they didn't come back for a day. And it's like, yeah, because you were doing XYZ, so they didn't want to be around you. But we can kind of cast that person as the crazy one. And I feel like that's what they were trying to do with you. And maybe you're just very intelligent and you saw the writing on the wall and you were like, that's what you want from me? Okay, so you're not going to get that. And then you just kept your grace. I don't know, but I feel like you handled it really well, pile number 3. Let's get some, oh my God. Okay, that one landed on Libra, so maybe we'll count some Libra, but we're going to do another, another astrology dice pull. What are the astrological energies at play for pile number 3's person, or who, what are their energies? So we got, oh my God, 7th house, aka Libra, double Libra. And I was like, Libra is perfect for what I'm describing, because they know all about keeping their grace, keeping their decorum, and not letting people see them sweat. So we got Virgo, then we got the 7th house Libra, and then we got Pluto, aka Scorpio. Love that for you guys. So yeah, let's start out with the 7th house. House of relationships, house of love, house of soulmates to a certain extent, and that is Libra's house, the 7th house. So I feel like, again, I wouldn't be surprised if this was a romantic relationship that you guys had, or just a really close friendship. And Libra's all about, you know, navigating those relationships, being diplomatic, being understanding, seeing the other person's side, and doing what's fair for everyone, and kind of coming to a compromise. And I feel like another thing about Libra is they don't like conflict. Actually, Mars, the planet of conflict, is debilitated in Libra for that reason. Because Libras tend to just, they're not going to start screaming and fighting. I mean, I know a lot of Libra Mars, and yeah, you'll never see them just have a meltdown. And maybe if you push them, because that's the thing, is like Libras sometimes will hold so much inside, and then they will have that breakdown. But for the most part, Libras are not going to be that burst of rage energy. They're gonna keep their cool. And I feel like a lot of you guys, you handled yourself that way. That's why Libras make an amazing diplomat or politician, because they're so good and literally relate to like legal matters. And because it's kind of reminding me of like when I worked in law, when they do depositions, they always try to trigger the person, and you have to like coach them before the deposition and be like, it does not matter what they say. Do not shout at them, please, because they will say some crazily offensive stuff. They'll be like, so you were lying and you were addicted to blah, blah, blah. And you're like, you want to like tell them off, but you cannot, because they will try. That is their whole goal, is to get under your skin so you look crazy in the video recording of the deposition, and then they can present it in court as like, I'm telling you, he has anger issues. So I feel like you guys knew that super well. You knew the game, you saw the writing on the wall, you knew what they were trying to get done, and you just completely ignored it and stayed in your beautiful grace. Another thing about Libra is they have that charm, they have that charisma, they have that beauty, and they can charm literally anyone. I have a Libra friend, and she's like a menace. She's just like, it's always amazing. I'm like, do you need to flirt with every waiter? Do you need to make this poor random waiter fall in love with you? I mean, be a little like compassionate for this man. He's like literally having hard eyes at you right now, and like sees you as his future wife, and you have no intention. I know you have no intention of actually doing anything with him. So maybe just stop that, you know. But that's what Libras do. They charm. Everyone is super drawn to Libra energy. And so that's the thing, is I feel like that's part of the resentment, is just like, oh my God, like, why do they get this attention? And why are they so good looking? And blah, blah, blah. Also, Virgo can be a very nitpicky energy. I love Virgos. Pisces is across the axis from Virgo, and I actually really get along well with a lot of Virgos, but the low vibrational Virgo energy can definitely be a nitpicking energy, and definitely can see flaws. And I almost feel like this person kind of tried to do that with you. Like, it's almost like they see you as so perfect that they were like, well, I'm going to bring them down a few pegs. You know what? Let me point out this, this, and this. And there is this huge resentment they have towards like you being perceived as perfect by others. So I feel like in a way, it's like they want to highlight any perceived flaw. They want to rip the veil off and be like, hey, no, they have this problem. See, they're not so perfect. And really what it is just this deep down insecurity that they're not good enough. Then we also have Pluto, aka Scorpio. So this may be some placements they have: Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio. And what's really interesting is that we literally have, first of all, these little lines going right in a row. So we have Virgo energy, which is the sixth house. Then we have the seventh house, Libra. And then we have the eighth house, Scorpio. So we have a lot of fall energy happening for you, or late August going into fall. So ending in November. So we have this kind of like stretch of the year where the leaves start changing. And maybe that's symbolic of your relationship, where the leaves start dying, you know, and maybe something that was super beautiful and like lovely and at one point was just so resplendent and covered in green and warm weather, and you can go outside, and then by the end of it you're freezing and it's dead. I love winter, so I love this time of year, but you know, I totally get it for a lot of people in the symbology of that death season. Maybe that is a little symbol from spirit. But then we also have Pluto, Scorpio, and Scorpio is also a plotting and planning sign, and also can be quite vengeful and keep someone in their heart forever. Water, or Scorpio, is fixed water, so unlike a Pisces or a Cancer, it's gonna not really keep flowing. It's gonna stay focused on something for, it could be forever. I mean, a Scorpio can just like not let something go. It can just stay fixated on something and keep those feelings just as strong as the day it first happened. All water can stay very emotional about things, but definitely fixed signs is more than that, with more than, you know, a mutable energy or something. So Scorpios can keep that long-term focus for a really long time and just be kind of vengeful. If you've ever seen a scorpion attack something, it's not going to run out and do it out in the open. It's going to wait for the prey to approach and then boom, strike the target. So sometimes it can be that, even though I find Scorpios very real, and most Scorpios I know are keep it 100 like at all times, like sometimes where it's like, oh my gosh, this is too much, like you don't need to tell this person off. But an energy of a Scorpio, when they're really in full conflict mode, can definitely be like the person who waits to strike. They're not going to come out in the open and just rush into battle. Like in Aries, which is the day representation of Mars, they're going to kind of hide back in the shadows and let you come to them. And then at the right exact moment, boom, go in for the kill. So that may have been your energy, because I actually feel like you handled this really well. And this person's kind of resentful about, like, well, they did kind of come up on top. But I also feel like it's this person's kind of shady energy that, again, I feel like they did try to, or pretend to be your friend, and then later kind of came in with a hit. So yeah, I hope this resonated, pile three. I think that is what I have for you. If it did resonate, let me know in the comments. I really love hearing from you guys, and I'm super curious about this gossip and whatever you have going on. I love all the dirty little gossip. So let me know, like, what is going on here? How did it resonate or apply to you? Let me know in the comments. Also, make sure to give this reading a like, hit the thumbs up button, and make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that little bell so you can find out as soon as I post next. And if you want to see more of my content, then head to my Patreon. I just posted a reading about when and how it will happen for you. So if there's been something you've been trying to manifest or dreaming of, or just something you want a timeline for, this is a great one to watch. We go into a lot of detail. It's a super long reading, over 3 hours, and we talk about how it's going to look like in your life whenever this is actually happens. So go ahead and check that out at the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description. And as soon as you sign up for my Patreon, you'll get access to over 65 other readings about love, spirituality, career, relocation, money, relationships, friendships, pretty much every topic under the sun that I can think of. So if you want to watch those, like I said, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments. We go a lot deeper, I feel, over on Patreon, and I would love to see you there. So also, if you want a private reading with me, you can get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me, have me pull tarot for you, read your astrology, channel for you, and you get to ask me basically whatever you want. So if you want that reading with me, go to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back again very soon with another reading. Take care, guys, and I'll see you then. Bye. Hey, Pile 4, welcome to your reading. So this reading has 2 separate parts. This part is their opinion of you, and this part is why they're coming for you. So we're going to be getting into both of those, but let's start with your tarot. You guys got the Three of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands reversed, the Fool reversed, and the Magician for their opinion of you. And then for why they're acting this way, we have the Justice card reversed, the Knight of Cups, the Devil card reversed, as well as the Ace of Cups reversed. So I feel that it's funny because I keep getting an almost like amused energy coming from them. I do feel that there was a time when they felt like they could learn from you, or maybe that energy was flipped and they were like your mentor and they felt like you should learn from them in some way. I do feel like this person kind of sees you as like younger than them. And it's almost like they see you as malleable, or they see you as kind of like clay they can form or something they can work with. There's some kind of energy of like, oh, I know I call the shots here. Like I'm picking up on a little bit of arrogance with them. Like it's almost like they feel like they were toying with you. I feel like there's almost this sense of like a kitten playing with a mouse or something like that. And I feel like in their mind, it's kind of like all's fair in love and war. I feel like in a way, this person may have been intimidated by you. If you are younger than them, it may have been jealousy over that. It may have also been jealousy over your looks in general, regardless of the age. And I feel like this person, it's almost like they feel that they're better than you in some way. It's like they feel that they have a leg up on you, or like, oh, this will be an easy target. I can mess with this person, you know? And I feel like this person, they're very emotionally immature. Over here, as far as the reason why they did this, we have the Devil card coming out next to the Ace of Cups reverse. I don't feel like this person is necessarily super mature or grown up. They may be able to pretend that they're mature, but I do feel like deep down they're very cut off from their emotions. They're not really great at emotionally processing things. Some of them might even have addictions with the Devil card being reversed. And I don't feel like this person does a lot of long-term thinking of their actions, or they might even be in like perpetual victim mode and just assume that, you know, they're going to be the ones getting good karma from this situation. But I feel like this person, it's almost like they didn't take it as seriously. It's almost like they just thought they could mess with you, or they could be mean to you or cruel to you, and like there was never going to be any karmic consequences. Of course, we know that's not true. Everyone has their Akashic records, everyone has their karma record. So they're going to have a little bit of a rude awakening if they really think that they got away scot-free with this. But in their mind, I feel like they kind of have this like, he, I got away with this, you know, it all worked out for me kind of vibe. I feel like how they think of your energy is like very, like I said, kind of young and hopeful, but it's interesting because I feel like they look down on that. We have the Ace of Wands, which is a very powerful fresh start type of energy. And we also have the Fool being reversed. So both of those deal with like a new start, a new beginning, a fresh, brand new thing, and they're both reversed. So it's almost like this person can see that you're doing things in a new way, or that you're kind of wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, as we would say, you know, that you kind of have this fresh energy about you. But I feel like in a way, they look down on it. Maybe it's kind of like, oh, wait until they get jaded by life. Wait until they think they know everything while they haven't figured it out yet. Or maybe this person could even be younger than you, and then they dismiss you as kind of like, oh my God, they're so old. They don't know anything. They're not seeing things like they should because they're so old and jaded. But there's some kind of energy here around like age, or around the way you view things, either being naive or not being visionary enough, and kind of like, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you who's right in this, and you're going to have a rude awakening. So whether it's because they want to prove to you that you're old and out of touch and that they know better and they're younger than you and they can show you everything, or because they think they're older than you and you're way too young and naive and you're an idiot, and they're going to show you that, you know, with age comes wisdom and that you don't know anything. I feel like this person is kind of like they have this bone to pick with you, or they have this axe to grind, and they're kind of like wanting to show off exactly how much more knowledge they have of you, or exactly that they're not wide-eyed and too there might be an energy around some of you guys of being too trusting, or something about your energy that they kind of feel like is very like small town or provincial or overly trusting, and they're kind of like, haha, I'm going to show them that they don't really know anything. I'm going to show them, it's almost like I want to teach this person a lesson about being too trusting because they trusted me and that was a big mistake. So it's almost like they kind of know what they're doing, and I feel like they don't really feel a lot of guilt about it. I feel like this person, I'm not saying they're like a sociopath or something, but it's funny because I do feel like they're probably one of those people that would look up like really intense videos of someone getting like hurt online and then just laugh at them, or like watch footage of, someone being like hit in the face or something, and laugh about it and not really feel a lot of empathy. Like it feels to me like this person is very removed from empathy and doesn't have a really great time processing that. So I feel like a lot of them, they kind of like, in a way, they try to make you seem like the crazy one. You might even be bringing up feelings of insecurity inside themselves where they're like, you know what? I wish I could be more open-minded, sweet, and loving the way pile number 4 is. I wish I actually had that deep heart and that reserve of like love and kindness that they seem to have. But instead, since I know I'll never get it, I'm going to make fun of it. I'm going to mock it. I feel like this person's defense mechanism is to mock things. They kind of laugh at things that they feel threaten them. And that's their way of feeling like they have an upper hand, is like if they can get themselves to laugh at it, or ideally someone else, or like ideally a big group of people that know you to laugh at it, then they're feeling really good. That's a huge burst of confidence. I wouldn't be surprised if this person is just like mean by nature. They're just a mean person. They're just not kind. They're not super empathetic. I don't think they really take a lot of time out to think about the, feelings of others, the reactions of others. Like I feel like they probably, don't really care if something really bad happens to someone in front of them. They're just going to kind of shrug it off. And in a way, I would say this person's just kind of a selfish, bad, low vibrational person. I know that's kind of harsh, but yeah, it just feels to me like they're kind of like a spoiled kid or something like that, someone who, it also may be like, especially if this person is younger, it may be that they haven't lived life enough to realize, the consequences of their actions. They haven't lived long enough to like feel that hurt themselves, so they can have that kind of arrogance. Or if they're older than you, maybe they just feel so removed from youth that they're like, oh, who cares? Like I can't remember stressing about that at my age, so whatever. But there's a very selfish self-centeredness with this person. It feels like they don't take a lot of time to feel empathy or to step out of their feelings and try to identify with anyone else. And I feel like that's a lot of what is fueling this kind of nasty behavior, is just like this sadism that they have. Just kind of the fact that they like to mess with people and they kind of want to like pull rank with you. Like I feel like they want to come out on top. They want to be the powerful one. And they also might be triggered because if you guys are really sweet and kind, or there's kind of this hopeful, optimistic quality about you, maybe you're the kind of person that always tries to see the best in others and always, is looking for like a positive outcome. I feel like this person might really make fun of that. They might think it's like pathetic, or like, oh my God, grow up, or, well, the world is a harsh place, get over it. I feel like they just have that kind of like very harsh approach towards things. It's hard to think that someone would make fun of someone for being super kind. But I mentioned it before, there's that story where there was like a kidney donor and she got made fun of by like multiple people at her office, including a very famous author. I think it was the lady who wrote Little Fires Everywhere. So don't buy that book, I guess, if you don't want to support someone who made fun of a kidney donor. But anyway, yeah, I think that that's maybe more widespread than we like to acknowledge. There's a lot of people out there who just lack empathy, like they just don't really have it. Or they might be able to direct it selectively, like maybe if they have a family member who's going through something, then yeah, they're going to cry. But when it comes to like their coworker or a random person on the street or someone they don't know so well, they don't care that much. That person could be struggling, that person could be in pain. They're not going to shed any tears and they're not going to feel bad for it. And I feel like that's kind of the vibe with you. Is also sometimes, when I think about that kidney donor situation, I think what they were really bothered by was the woman's empathy and the fact that she was going out of her way to donate a kidney. And instead of just being a normal person and being like, yeah, that's super nice and I could never do that, but kudos to you, they kind of like, I feel like took it almost personally, like, oh my god, she's showing off, she's donating a kidney, she has to brag about everything. And that was like the kind of the emails they were sending to each other. Like I said, just never buy the book Little Fires Everywhere, because apparently the author is not the nicest person. But isn't it crazy how sometimes like the people that are supposed to be super nice, kind, and wise turn out to be just such jerks? I always think that's so crazy how someone capable of writing like a beautiful love song or a beautiful romance novel or a sweet story with like moral lessons within it are also, then they'll turn out to be like super problematic. It's kind of wild. But anyway, yeah, and that, speaking of that, that's a really great example of someone having like a bit of a disguise up, because I do feel like this person worries about the perception others have of them. And they might know that there's a little bit of a crack within them where maybe they do have a reputation, or they want a reputation as someone who's like kind and sweet and nice, but they know that in contrast to you, that you look a lot kinder. I feel like there's something about you guys being very imaginative or being very creative, and it kind of rubbing this person the wrong way. It feels like they just get triggered by you, and I am getting jealousy vibes. I do feel like their reaction is so bizarre. Like, part of me is like, what is this person even saying to me? Because the other piles made more sense. Like, it was like, okay, I'm mad at you because of this. With you, I'm like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? None of this makes any sense. What did pile 4 do to you? And I feel like part of it is just that jealousy you get when someone's doing better than you, or when they perceive you as having much more potential. Like I said, if you are younger, they may perceive you as being capable of outpacing them. And that may really irritate them or bring up feelings of unworthiness, or like they haven't accomplished enough in their life. And vice versa, if they're younger than you, they might be irritated by the fact that you have more perceived power, or that you're getting more attention to them, or they feel like you need to step aside and make way for me, it's my turn or something. But there's almost like this resentment towards you and the space you take up, and this desire to kind of blot you out and for them to take center stage. So I do feel like this person is really selfish, and they kind of hate the mirror you shine to them. Like, I feel like they're able to kind of fool others, and maybe they also feel like you naturally get attention. We also got the Ace of Wands, which is a very attractive energy. This is a very charismatic energy. A lot of people are drawn to that Ace of Wands, powerful, fiery energy that can be very sexy and just very cool. And I feel like for a lot of the energy that's coming through here is kind of that resentment, kind of like that, why does she have to be the center of attention? Or why does he get that attention? It doesn't have to necessarily just be about your appearance, but that might be a factor. And it just is giving me jealousy overall. Like, I feel like it's almost something where you just walked into the room the first time and you didn't even have to say anything, and this person was already hating from day one. Let's get into some more cards. So we got the Feast of Plenty, choices and their consequences, straddling worlds, wandering between realms, unmarked trail, revelation, and sky dancers, surrender. It doesn't feel like you've fought back to this person a lot. In fact, I feel like you've given them the benefit of the doubt many times. And instead of this person being really grateful for the kindness and the way you have not judged them for their cruelty or their meanness towards you, I feel like this person just takes it for granted and kind of laughs like, yeah, pile 4, they didn't even get mad at me when I did this. I know. I can't believe it. Like, they're such a pushover. I feel like they kind of like take your kindness for weakness, and they kind of think of it as like a flaw for you. But keeping in mind that the karmic wheel is real, and I think it's so perfect that they got this Justice card reversed. Justice card being a huge karma card. It's just telling me that this person may not be accurately perceiving the karma they're putting out for themselves, that they're sowing for themselves and planting for themselves. So it's going to come as a really bit of a surprise to them, and you got gotta love that. When they finally do get karma back, they're gonna probably think it came out of nowhere and not realize that it is connected to how they treated you. I don't feel like this person really has a great understanding of spiritual truths. In fact, they may laugh at spiritual concepts, and if you were to ever bring up like tarot in front of them or astrology, they may be like really judgmental of that. Because I do feel like this person, even though they have a guise of being really kind and nice, they are really judgmental and they can be such a jerk. I feel to me like they're not going to be super open-minded, even though they may pretend to be, even though they may want to give off that persona. And again, I feel like this is where some of the conflict comes in, is it feels to me like this person spent a really long time, many years, trying to hash out a persona for themselves, possibly trying to seem really cool. And kind of like nowadays, like it's almost funny to me. I wonder if, if I was doing this reading in like 2012 or something, or 2002 or 1992. I don't know why we're doing 2 years. Maybe that's a meaningful number. But anyway, if I was doing this reading in those years, back before, we'd had like feminism movements and other social justice movements, and there was less, like, I feel like, back in those years, it wasn't like a flex to be like, oh, I'm a feminist or I'm an activist or I'm, campaigning for this like cause. It was kind of considered like cringe, and it was much cooler to be like edgy and to be like smoking a cig and being like, I don't care about that, whatever, and now it's kind of a flex to be like, I'm really compassionate and I donate to this cause and I care a lot about this cause. And it's funny because I always think that that is kind of like in some ways a bad thing, because it's made a lot of people pretend to be like compassionate, kind, sweet people when they're actually not, and they totally don't agree with it, and they're just like LARPing and pretending because they want to get ahead and because it's kind of socially mandated now. And by the same token, I feel like if we weren't living in 2023 and there were certain values that people like expected people to express, I feel like this person may be like super problematic, and just not even problematic in like a political sense, but just genuinely unempathetic, like not a nice person, just someone who's kind of cruel and doesn't care. But now that like you're kind of expected to be a feminist, maybe they're like, yeah, I care so much, and like I was at this rally last weekend. But the reality is that if like there was actually a woman that like needed help and they could do something for them, they would not care at all. But they may be like, no, I'm totally a feminist and I care a lot, even though they're not and they don't care, but it's just a label they would slap onto themselves. Like I feel like it's giving that vibe of kind of like sociopathic person who doesn't care but is putting on a facade. And I feel like where they get triggered with you is that you feel like you genuinely are empathetic. You feel like you're genuinely a kind, sweet soul. And I don't think you realize how much it contrasts to like how gross they are. I always think this is so interesting, but Pisces and Virgo share an axis. And I think people totally understand that Virgos are kind of clean freaks, and they tend to like to organize their physical space, and they like everything to be in its right place, and they get kind of stressed out if you were like, hey, go hang out in that hoarder house, please. Like a Virgo would not be thrilled about that, to say the least. But I don't think people understand that Pisces is actually very similar, but it's just on the spiritual realm. Virgo is the physical, it's earth energy, and then Pisces is spiritual water energy, or cups energy versus pentacles energy. So Pisces feels the same way, just with like spiritual stuff. And like Pisces will get really grossed out and actually like repulsed, like the feeling of ugh, gross, when someone's like acting nasty and being cruel and mean. It actually like disgusts them. So it's the same thing as Virgo, but Virgo gets a lot more heat for being like, oh my God, you're so judgmental, but like Pisces is doing the same thing. It's just they're both in a different realm. And I feel like, you guys are that type of person that would get like actually grossed out by cruelty. You're actually empathetic. You're actually really kind. And I feel like this person just doesn't get it. And in the same way that, like I said, when there's a physical representation of filth, we can kind of understand what's going on more. So like when like I said, a Virgo is going into a hoarder house, we know that they're going to be like running out in a moment because it's just so disgusting. But by the same token, there's a spiritual dimension of that. And the way you react versus the way they react, you guys next to each other, is kind of like a hoarding house room stacked to like the actual ceiling with trash. That's them. That's the spiritual representation of them. And then you're like a beautiful, pristine, all white kitchen that just was scrubbed down and like has marble countertops and just is glowing in the sunlight. You know what I mean? Like one of those modern kitchens. And perfectly clean. And the fact that maybe they were able to lie, maybe it's not even as bad as a hoarding house, but it's like, it's bad and it's messy and there's some, cockroaches running around and there's some grossness and crustiness happening. And before they were able to like look it over and be like, oh, whatever. And people were going into the kitchen and being like, okay, this is kind of gross, but it's fine. And then they see this perfectly pristine, gorgeous kitchen and they're like, oh my God, that place is disgusting. I never noticed it before, but that contrast is gross. I don't want to be in that kitchen again. And I feel like that's what irritates this person about you is you are this contrast to them because you genuinely are kind and you also form your own path. You tend to march to the beat of your own drum, do your own thing. You might be very spiritual. You might be someone who might be a Pisces or just might have spiritual placements in general and just be very, in tune with the other side, in tune with the collective. You might be someone who's very empathic, and if someone's crying or upset, you feel that energy too, and you get sad as well. But either way, I feel like this person just doesn't understand it. They don't get it. They don't know why you're crying for someone that, is your friend. In their mind, they would never be crying unless it like affected them. So I feel like in a way, they've had to hide this about themselves, and deep down, I feel like they wish they could be as kind and compassionate as you are. They just feel like a really nasty person and honestly a hater. Let's get into some more cards. So we got the Well Watcher, Wisdom, Power of the Divine, the Shadow Queen, Acquiring Knowledge, Insecurity, Manipulation, the Eagle King, the Big Picture, Angelic Help, and the Word Lord, Communication, Praise, Dishonesty. I feel like this person also exists in that space of kind of devaluing spiritual stuff. Like very, who cares about like tarot? Who cares about astrology? Who cares about morality and karma and stuff? I feel like this person is just very cut off from the spiritual dimension. And as far as they're concerned, they just live in a physical world. It's not that deep. Get over it. And they probably literally might mock or make fun of your spirituality or your emotions or your emotional side. They're super intolerant, if we're being honest, of people who are different from that and people who have different spiritual beliefs than they do. They honestly feel to me a little bit like a know-it-all, almost like they feel like they figured everything out. And it's like there's a lot of arrogance coming through. Like I feel like they're in a place in their life where they literally feel like they've mastered everything and like no one can come for them. They feel like they are kind of this like queen character, this shadow queen who's like operating in darkness, but no one really sees it. And I really feel like some of the reason they're just hating and being a jerk is because they truly believe they can just get away with all of this. They truly believe that there's not going to be any consequences. They truly believe that they can effectively pull the wool over everyone else's eyes and no one is going to see how nasty they've been to you. I don't think they know that other people have noticed, is what I'm hearing from spirit. Other people are aware of the nasty and underhanded tactics they've used towards you, and other people have seen that they do seem extra crusty around you. They do seem to get jealous around you, and they can see those micro expressions where someone's like announcing good news and the other person just has a flicker of resentment in their eye. People are smarter than you realize. So I feel like even with this person, they may have tried gossiping about you. They may have tried telling someone something about you, like, I know, I can't believe she did that. She's so stupid. And then that person was like, well, I don't know. I don't think she's that stupid. I mean, she's super nice, so I really like her. And maybe shut this person down. And I feel like they kind of walk a tightrope between like wanting to come for you more and wanting to really attack you and knowing that it'll like not help their reputation and prioritizing their reputation over a lot of other things. So I feel like they might not try that, but deep down they still have that instinct urge. If they ever met someone else who was like them and hated you, they would definitely take that opportunity to fully go after you. So like I said, there's a big part of them that I feel like kind of looks for opportunities and is constantly trying to figure out like, okay, how do I actually enact this plan? And for them, it may be something that just like passes the time. Like I am feeling like this person is sadistic by nature and they like to fight. And it's almost like for some of you guys, and I hate to say this because I know it can feel depressing to hear, but it's almost like easy target vibes, like kind of like, I'm going to mess with them. They're not going to fight back. This is going to be so fun. Like, I feel like they get pleasure out of hurting people, and they probably done it to other people before you as well. And I know that's probably maddening to hear, enraging to hear, so frustrating when people see us this way or treat us this way. It's so unacceptable. But just communicating what I'm feeling, which is like, I feel that this person has just looked for opportunities, and they kind of love being the one to actually see it happen. Like, I feel like this person deep down, even though they're not willing to unpack this, and even as I try to dig into it, I can feel a literal mental block in their consciousness where they're like, we are not going there. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go there anyway, but not fully, because honestly, I don't want to go into this. It feels like a very dark well. And what is this? The well watcher. Wow, perfect. Love that synchronicity. But yeah, it feels like a very dark well of like trauma or childhood stuff that made them into this really nasty, cruel person. I don't even want to delve into it. It feels way too dark to tap into, but I feel that there's a lot there that this person just blocks out for themselves and just doesn't even allow themselves to feel it, to go there. And it has led them to be this very nasty, full of hate and anger individual. Like I said, I've told that story before on my channel, and everyone's like, wait, someone was really hating on a kidney donor? And I'm like, yes, it's a story. It was in the New York Times. It's like, you can Google it. It's called Bad Art Friend. But it's a real story. I know it seems unbelievable. I know it seems like, well, who in their right mind would hate on someone who was a kidney donor, let alone an acclaimed author that has like themes of morality in their writing? But that's real. And again, this person, before all of this incident went down, had a good reputation as like this wise, author who was like a deep thinker and stuff. And they've still been able to get away with some PR, which is crazy to me. But the thing is that, people put on all kinds of masks. And a lot of times nowadays, it is that mask of like kindness to others and like, I care about this social cause and I am a feminist and I love everyone, but it's not honest. You know what I mean? It's like, well, wait, were you actually fighting for that prior to like 2014 when it became more mainstream? Or is this like a persona you're putting on because now that's like acceptable or even like somewhat mandated in the public sphere, And I feel like so many people, like nowadays, that's a very like kind of beneficial mask to wear. Is like, I'm a kind activist person. I'm like, I care a lot about everyone. But it's like, do you really? Do you actually have compassion? Do you actually feel empathy? Because a lot of people in this world seem just really cruel. So yeah, I think it's funny because it doesn't feel like you did anything bad to them that deserves this. It feels like they're just kind of a sadistic jerk. I would definitely keep my distance from this person. If it was me, I would not want to engage with them because I do feel like this person that's kind of like just does mean things for kicks is particularly dangerous and also just a dark energy. As an empathetic person myself, and I can feel you guys are empathetic as well, I just wouldn't want to be around this toxic like garbage. Like I said, think of spiritual energy. We can't see it with our eyes, but just we get, like I said, Virgo is like the physical representation. Water and Pisces is like the spiritual. So just because you can see one doesn't mean the other doesn't exist. So imagine that some people are walking around like a hoarding house full of cockroaches and rats and just smelling really bad, and like you'd avoid a hoarding house if you could see that. But how many of us interact with people who are like toxic deep inside and just nasty, mean people, and we can't even realize it until we're super deep in a relationship and just absorbing their toxic energy? So be a little Pisces and just swim away from these types of people. Let's get into some astrology, guys. What are the astrological energies for this person, pile 4's person? Okay, so we got the first house, aka Aries, then we have Uranus, aka Aquarius, and then Taurus, which is the second house. So we have the 11th house, second house, first house, Aries, Aquarius, Taurus energy coming through. So First house, Aries. Like I said, this person may like to fight. They genuinely may like conflict. Aries is the ram. It is ruled by Mars, which is the god of war. And it is, an energy that Aries generally like to fight. And that's, the good thing about Aries. They're kind of that happy soldier that's like willing to rush into battle. Like a high vibrational Aries, we need that fighter in our society to keep people in line, to maintain law and order, and to, fight for things. We need that energy, but in a dysfunctional energy, it can be that person who's maybe just a fighter over dumb stuff and could even be sadistic or mean or do something just for the heck of it, do something really harsh or cruel just because why not? Who cares? Let me just kind of, be a jerk to this like old dude and kick out his chair from underneath him because like that's funny. Again, most Aries I think are really awesome, so I'm not saying like this is a typical Aries characteristic, just a disclaimer, but like this is like the super low vibrational energy of it. And Aries likes to fight. All Aries pretty much like to fight. So if it's low vibrational, they'll like to fight in like a dirty way and in a mean way, not in a pure honorable way, but in a way that's like dishonest. And I kind of get that vibe with this person. Then we have Aquarius. And Aquarius rules the 11th house of large groups and kind of friends, but more along the lines of like distant friends, so acquaintances, that kind of a thing. And again, I feel like this person really worries a lot about their reputation. The reputation matters a lot to this person, and I feel like they also may put up that persona of trying to be outside the box, trying to be an intellectual, which is kind of like Aquarius's thing. Like Aquarius is very intellectual, very genius, and that's kind of the lane Aquarius operates in. So this person may be LARPing as that, but deep down, they don't really have the full intellectual capacity or the genius or the outside of the box inventiveness that Aquarius gives off. And I feel like you kind of have that more. Like you're the kind of person who genuinely seems like you march to the beat of your own drum, you do your thing, you're unique, you're special, you're different, you stick out of the crowd. And it just feels like this person does not have those qualities at all. It feels like they are very, honestly boring. Like they just feel boring to me, and they feel like very predictable and kind of like they don't really have a genuine creative spirit, a genuine aesthetic gifts, anything like that. And also, like I said, it does rule large groups of people, larger groups of all kinds, as well as acquaintance friends. So again, I feel like this person does worry about their image with a larger collective, and you might be like contrasting to them, and they're not liking this beautiful shine you have, and that how that contrasts to their boring dull qualities. And on that same energy, we do have Taurus coming through. So Taurus is obviously ruled by Venus, planet of beauty. Taurus is all about earned income and the value we offer to others. And it's also a beauty placement. It's where Venus is at home. And so it often confers a lot of beauty with a person. And I do feel like this person may be intimidated by your physical appearance. They may have ideas. Like I said, they may be like younger than you and say things like, aren't you too old to be wearing that? Or like, oh my God, well, yeah, but you're like 35. That's so old. Or like, oh my God, but you're, 28. You're like super over the hill or something like that. And it may be that they're threatened by your appearance because they don't really want to have to compete against like a 28-year-old, and they thought they were going to be getting all the shine, because they were the younger one, but you still look really dang good. So that's getting under their skin. Or it could be flipped. If they're the older one, it could be that they are threatened because, you're kind of the new one on the scene and you're looking really cute. Either way, there may be a factor at play with your physical appearance and just shining or taking attention away from them. Also, the second house is how we show value. And I feel like deep down, this person is threatened by the value they may not actually add. Maybe they're able to, again, put across a persona of like, oh, I do so much for people. I really help people around here. And actually, they don't really do anything. And the fact that you are a genuinely loving, sweet, supportive person, and you actually do add so much value, that may really get under their skin and irritate them because, again, I feel like you prove a real contrast for people. And they really don't want that comparison because they can see that you're so much further ahead than them. So I wouldn't worry. I know this energy stinks. I hate having to deal with people like this, and I really feel like they're toxic. This is an energy I would very much just stay away from because nobody has time for this kind of trash behavior. And no one wants to, like I said, they feel like the human equivalent of a hoarder house. Just no. But with that being said, trust and believe that they will get karma. Spirit is keeping Akashic records. Spirit does keep karmic records, and they are going to have a rude awakening either during this lifetime or at their next lifetime. So that will never go unchecked, and sooner or later they're going to have to pay the piper. They might not understand that's what's happening. Maybe their life will just seemingly fall apart in some area that they feel is unrelated, but this is what it comes down to. Their lack of self-reflection and the fact that they're going to be like, I didn't know what I was doing, isn't going to save them from the consequences. So just know that and rest assured on that, pile 4. So I think that's what I have for you guys. I hope it resonated. If it did, let me know in the comments. I'm always really curious, but in cases like these that are super gossipy, I'm super nosy and I really want to know. So please let me know your thoughts. Also give this reading a thumbs up if it did resonate, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell too so you can find out as soon as I post next. And if you want to see more of my content, head to my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. I just posted a reading about when and how it is going to happen for you. So if you've been looking forward to an event, waiting for something to happen, if there's something in your mind that you are just jonesing to see take place in your life or nervous about or whatever, this is a great one to watch when you need a timeline and some extra details about it. That reading is over 3 hours long, so it's a long one, and there are over 65 additional readings you'll get access to as soon as you sign up. Readings about love, spirituality, career, relocation, family, friends, relationships, money, every topic under the sun, or that I can think of at least. So if you want to check that out, go to my website, or not my website, go to Patreon, and the link for that is underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description. I'd love to see you there. And if you want to get a reading with me, then you can go to my website, which is briarrosetarot.com. The link for that is also in my description, actually in my description. And that one, you can get a reading with me. So you can get a 30-minute reading or a full hour-long reading. You can get a tarot reading from me, an astrological reading, or you can get just me purely channeling for you. You get to really choose what we ask about, talk about, and tune into. So if you would like to get that reading with me, go to my website, briarrosetarot.com. Like I said, link is in the description for that. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back again very soon with another reading. Take care, guys, and I'll see you then. Bye.